27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And there isn't one of us that doesn't want to be someplace else. This is what we do. Who we are.
Survive a war, you gotta become war.
Boom. And welcome yet again to Rambo and Frens. I want to start this thing off real quick with just saying thank you to everybody that went over and supported me last night. Me and Dave, who I see in the chat, Dave from News Treason, in being the guest on the show that we were last night. I want to thank Captain Kyle for being such a kind host. It was really cool to meet quite an audience that's not nearly the same as the one that I think we've built over here, yet we had so many similarities. So that was really cool. And I just wanted to thank all you guys. If anybody hasn't checked it out, please, by all means, go over there and check out that show. Say hi to those guys as we continue to try to bring all of the camps together so we can win this whole battle war thing that we're in right now as it goes. And with that being said, I'm going to get right into introducing who we're going to talk to today. Look, I have a complete, and I think we all do, complete vested interest in what the hell is going on financially in this country. We've all been victims to this inflation. We've all been victims to gasoline prices being higher and milk and right down the line. We were all here when the ships all sat there parked off the coast of, the East Coast and the West Coast, around the planet, really. We all wondered where we were going to get toilet paper for a few weeks, right? So I am not versed in this. I've got a little bit of information from everybody, right? I bought a little bit of silver and I bought a little bit of crypto, and we stocked up on canned goods, and we made sure that we could do, to the best of our ability, that we took care of our families. But as most of the people know on this show, that watch this show, that we have had quite a battle for my son, right? And it has cost a lot of money. Some of you have supported us on that journey that we're on, and it's not yet over. So it does pique my interest to find out what it is that guys that are so well versed on something they're so passionate about as G Money is on Bitcoin. So with that being said, you guys know who's coming today. Let's just get into it.
I wouldn't miss a chance to talk to my friends. These are my friends.
All right, you guys know I normally start there, but I had to add just a few more Trump words before we bring the man of the hour on, because Donald Trump himself did go speak at Bitcoin.
Because we have to talk about crypto, we have to talk about Bitcoin, we have to talk about all these great companies.
G Money, what is up, brother?
What is up, Rambo? I love those clips. Absolutely love it.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, I already told you this pre-show. We had a couple minutes to talk, but it is an absolute honor to meet you. I've known of you and your work for a very long time. I'm so stuck in my own rabbit holes that I don't always get to follow down other people's, but that's what I'm hoping to do today, is introduce you to my whole crew and hear all about you. So thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here. And yeah, man, I'm here to unite the clans, right? I've always kind of been the black sheep in the Anon community. I'm kind of a polarizing figure. But let's talk, man. Let's have an open conversation. Let's have an open source dialogue about like where we think things are going and what the plan is, man. Because it looks like we're running out of time to save humanity here, bud.
Right. Yeah, it's funny you are polarizing. So am I, right? I think we all have a little bit of that in us. But you definitely come with that, right? Like I have a ton of friends, same as you do in this movement, and like people are like, I love him, but he's also very polarizing. I love that about people, because if we're going to unite clans, we have to look past that and see the value of what each and every one of us bring. It's my mission on this show to do exactly that, right? If we all stand together and all use our strengths, we can't lose, right? I think that's the main goal.
Yeah, and I love my haters, because most of my haters actually come around to like coming on board. So the triggering is actually an important thing, because it makes you reflect. It shows that mirror of like why you might be wrong. And so once you kind of humble yourself to some degree, you can kind of get past that, and then you can learn, and then you can engage. And so I find the triggering is actually the key element of learning. So let's keep them triggered.
Well, I'm going to back you up even further than the Bitcoin thing to start it off, because I'll tell you why. I was just invited, like I was saying in the beginning of the show there, on a few other spots where I got to be the guest, and they asked me about my story, and it was really cool that people wanted to know, right? And so I kind of want to like pass that on. So I'd like to know who you are before we get into this, right? If there's any part of your story you want to tell, what happened maybe before you hit the boards or before you found so much passion for Bitcoin, like who is G Money?
Yeah, for sure. Let's start there. It's a great place to start and get a dialogue of like who I am. And so I was kind of born and raised in Southern California. I got into the technology field, got into the real estate market, started selling computer chips pretty young in my 20s, got into software, and then always kind of knew something was wrong, right? I always kind of knew there was something wrong with the way the world worked. Didn't quite really understand what that was. And then we had 9/11 happen, right? 9/11 was kind of a red pill, kind of a conspiracy pill. But in going through that, I got really kind of, just over the politics. I was always a Ron Paul guy. Like I always knew Ron Paul was right about ending the Fed. Like I didn't know much, but I knew like, I had a buddy who talked about George Bush and all the other stuff, and but like I knew the Iraq war was unfair. I knew a lot of that stuff was bullshit, but I really resonated within the Fed. I really resonated with Ron Paul. And so I was a Ron Paul guy. I wrote in Ron Paul from, fuck Romney, fuck, McCain. I wrote in Ron Paul every single time until Trump came along, obviously. But I was a gold guy. I was stacking gold. I was like, precious metals are the way. Ron Paul knows what's up. And, kind of continued down that path. Then I was in Las Vegas on October 1, 2017. And I had bullets flying at my head. I had a buddy get shot in the leg. He's okay, thankfully. We got out of there, all of us alive and well. Not everybody was so lucky. After that event, I knew something was very, very wrong with what was happening, not only in our media, but the story of the world. And that was my like shaken to the core moment of holy fuck. So I started researching every single place I could find. I was into the Alex Jones stuff previously, but he was always kind of felt like he was leaving something out of that. And so right after Vegas, as going through that, I found the Q boards. So probably within, I would say like a month or so of that event, like I probably got into the Q boards, probably like November of 2017. And so that's kind of like at least some of my history. And then immediately when I got to the Q boards, I was like, oh shit. Now this was a funny thing when I approached the Q stuff, because when I first saw Q, I'm like, hey, all of this stuff sounds really good. Like I totally believe there could be a plan to help save the world, save humanity. But if they don't fix the money, right, they're just going to eventually overpower the arrests, in 20, 50, 100 years, whatever it is, because they can control the energy. They can print energy for free. So they're just going to corrupt the next politician because everybody is, basically, corrupt at some point, depending on how much money you give them. And so I was always like, well, if they can't fix the money, like, how are they going to arrest all these people? And then, like, we're going to go to this new world. Like, well, what's that going to look like? And so I always was using that first principles approach, right? If Q is real, they have to have a plan to fix the money, right? They have to. And it can't be something that like just comes in at the last minute. It's got to be something that's equal. It's got to be something that's fairly distributed. It's got to be something that nobody can control. And so what I started piecing together was putting this orange lens, this Bitcoin lens on all the Q drops. Okay. And then that made it make sense to me. Like Q made sense to me because of Bitcoin. Bitcoin made sense to me because of Q. And so I could not have one without the other because I only had half the story at that point. And so that was my first principles approach to not only the Q boards, but also kind of to down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin.
That's really interesting because I think I do that with Trump's speeches. I put a Q lens on everything I watch out of his speeches, right? So when he says something like the pause, I'm like, oh, gift of vision, right? So I see it much clearer because I think I do the same thing you're talking about. Hey, have you ever, hold on, you made me think of something. Oh, shit. Of course, I can't do it quickly. So I want to show you a clip that Donald Trump said because I think this has to do with something you were just talking about. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
Should have
Let's
been prepared. Here we go. Check this out.
Illegal immigration. We can talk about IRS. Yeah, IRS is right. He says IRS and I say ISIS. Maybe it's the same thing. I thought.
Yep. I pulled that clip and retweeted you, and absolutely correct. The IRS is a terrorist organization. And look, this country was founded on a tax revolt. And I believe that the end of this story ends with we the people revolting against not only the proof of stake powers that be, right? The small group of people that control everything, but also the tax collectors. And so we'll get into that as part of my thesis. But I believe at the end of the day, we are the counterinsurgency. We are the digital 1776 that has to fight these people. And we do it non-kinetically. We don't have to raise weapons up. We don't have to go to Washington with muskets. We can literally now store our energy behind a wall of energy that the government can't confiscate, the government can't block, and the government can't control. And so if you think about that, and you think about the power that an individual has, what does power back to the people actually mean? Right? Trump said it in his inauguration. I'm giving power back to you, the American people. And so what does that mean? Right? Is Trump going to come in and like just give you a bunch of guns? Is he going to give you tanks? Is he going to give you, right, F-16s? No. He's giving you the ultimate nuclear weapon that's digital and non-kinetic, giving the individual sovereign citizen the ability to store their energy and their wealth in a system that the government cannot touch. And that, my friend, is a key element of this entire operation.
All right, you're kind of blowing my mind already because I'm already thinking, what about BRICS? I'm already thinking, and I'm sure you have all of that tied in. Yeah. Do you want to just start to give your presentation? I can pull up either one of the Substacks that you sent me.
Sure.
Let's through Badlands.
Let's pull up the Substack and kind of start going through it, because I think this will give people context on why the orange lens gets applied to the Q drops and Covfefe, and so all these different things kind of get wrapped together. And so I want people to understand this entire thesis and this entire dig, you kind of have to have a couple different things that you're aware of. Okay. And one of them is obviously Trump. Okay. You have to understand that Trump was not a politician. He came into the scene to fight the system, right? He's an outsider. So you have to assume Trump is a good guy. All right. You have to assume at some degree that Q is a real operation, right? That the mathematical coincidences that line up with the Trump tweets and the future proves past are a mathematical anomaly that can't be proven, but other than genuine. Okay. You have to understand Bitcoin to a degree. Okay. You have to understand that a permissionless, trustless system that is open source on redundant, right, networks across the globe cannot be shut down, right? You can't just attack the Bitcoin network. The Bitcoin network is bulletproof. And it's backed by proof of work, right? It's backed by physical reality. And the last thing or actually two more things is you have to understand Pepe the Frog. Understand that Pepe the Frog is kind of an important piece to this. Is why I'm in my Pepe gear. And then also JFK and Executive Order 11110. Okay. And so where we start out with this thing, right, is really like Q talked about nothing can stop what is coming, right? Scroll up a little bit. He talked about nothing can stop what is coming so often, right? And it was like, what the hell does that mean? What does he mean nothing can stop what is coming, right? And does that mean like Trump coming back? Does that mean this? Like from a first principles approach, what does that mean? Nothing. Like Trump eventually is going to, right, pass. He's mortal. The deep state, like, you know, maybe we can beat them, I guess, to some degree. But what on this earth, like, literally can't you stop? Well, you can't really stop the sun, I guess, right? You can't stop death. You can't stop taxes. But the other thing architecturally you look at that you can't stop is Bitcoin. Okay. The network is, like I said, it's open source. It's redundant. It had an immaculate conception. We can go to the architecture at some point, but literally the network itself can't be stopped. Like every 10 minutes, a block will be mined, and there is nothing that anybody can do to stop it. You could shut down the power and the internet to the entire world, and you still have computers and stuff running in space that would run the network. So there's literally nothing at this point, I believe, that can stop it. And so putting that together, and then, dude, whatever it was, man, Trump's freaking Trump's Covfefe tweets just bugged the fuck out of me, man. Like I couldn't get out of my head, dude. And like, I'm like, man, this Covfefe stuff, like, what does he mean? Right. And so we can scroll down a little bit and kind of get to that.
I want to ask you though, before,
yeah.
Are you going to get more into that Pepe thing? Because I want.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Okay.
Actually, the Pepe thing is probably the funnest out of this whole thing because I can prove Q is real on chain without like even mentioning a Q drop. So we'll get to that, bro. That'll absolutely blow your mind. So yeah, let's go ahead and scroll down. Obviously, everybody knows about the Covfefe tweet that went. Everybody thinks it was a mistweet, right? That's that one. You can scroll past this stuff. Talk about the Federal Reserve. Go ahead.
Who knows what this means? Sounds good to me. So this is where the Covfefe stuff starts. So
yeah, that's where the Covfefe stuff. Yeah. So he talks about, but how do you know it was a mistweet? Maybe something with deep meaning. And so if you scroll down, Trump was talking.
You know, this has been connected to like 10 different things, right? We had some people.
I know it's been connected with COVID and with metals and with all this crazy shit. And so, you know, he's referencing and talking about how do you know it's a mistweet? Maybe it's something with deep meaning. And so, you know, even Dan Scavino alluded to that. Hey, certain people know exactly what it meant. You know, and so if you keep scrolling down, we'll get to Covfefe. Okay. And this is kind of the 40,000 foot view. And let's start with the tweet, right? Let's look. And we all kind of believe that timestamps are important. Dates are important, right? Do we kind of have a foundation that I think a lot of your audience understands about timestamps? They understand about dates. And look, you know, the military gave us GPS. GPS is a key element of not only, you know, the future of this world, but also Bitcoin, right? Timestamping and GPS coordinates help the timestamp operations work. And so, look, Trump tweeted about who can figure out the true meaning of Covfefe, right? And he tweeted it twice, despite the constant negative press. Covfefe, he deleted that one. But both of these tweets were on May 31st, okay? So May 31st is important because that is a 531. And as we get into this, you're going to understand that there is some kind of numerology aspect to this. Now, let me just preface this with the fact that I was never one of those kooky numerology guys. Never, right? I drive trucks. I drink beer, right? I drink whiskey. I wasn't into the fucking astronomy and the stars and, you know, taking a bunch of mushrooms.
That's the part of the story I wanted to hear about, bro. Drinking and driving trucks.
Yeah. that came later, of course. But, you know, I was never into the numerology stuff to begin with. And so we're not going to get too heavy into it, but we're going to understand that the numerology to this is like the frequency, right? So, you know, Tesla talked about if you knew the power, right, of 369, you'd have the keys to the universe. And so we'll get into what maybe 369 means. 6 plus 9 is actually 15. So 315 is kind of like a similar 369. So we'll figure that out. But what I want people to learn about is, so scroll down a little bit farther. Covfefe, right? If you were just to take simple letters to numbers, right? COV is 31522 and FEFE is 6565. And so 315, 6565. If you add those together, you get like 11s, right? V equals 22 is, 22 is obviously 11, 11. You get FE is 6565 is 11 plus 11 if you add those together. And then you get 315, right? From the CO. And so 315, the 315th day of the year is, funny enough, 1111. So it's kind of like this circular number repeating pattern that I want people to know, that any combination of 315 gives us this signal, this like frequency in the universe that Trump, white hats, whoever it is, I think, are putting out these signals of 315 in any combination. Doesn't have to be exactly 315. Could be 135, could be 531. And this signal is resonating with, we are transitioning from the fiat system to Bitcoin as a foundation of money. We are doing this in a peaceful way. The people are going to take their power back from a foundational perspective. And the frequency is kind of just that thing that gets put into the ethos because it's mimetic, right? It's mimetic when people start to understand the different, patterns of the frog. And so let's keep going to but that's kind of the introduction, at least of Covfefe. And I'm going to explain each part of this. So people don't jump to conclusions yet. Don't say, well, Covfefe is this, Covfefe is that. Just follow along here. And some of you may have to read this a couple times to actually let it sink in to what is maybe happening. And I'm not saying I'm 100% right. Okay. Don't quote me on this. I am saying maybe I am in a hand grenade distance of possibly being correct with some of this stuff now that Trump has come on board with Bitcoin. And now that we understand what maybe some of this stuff means.
Mike, can I sidebar you for a second? I don't want to throw you off.
Please do.
Well, so do you ever have to tell the people that follow you, like, I'm not a financial advisor and all that BS that we always hear on every show that talks about silver or COVID?
No, because Bitcoin is a commodity. So I don't need a securities license to talk about it, just like you don't need a securities license to talk about gold. Now, if you want to promise people future, right, earnings from a specific centralized group of people, like a stock or something, yeah, you have to give everybody that warning. But what's great about Bitcoin is literally this plan weaponized each and every one of us to become independent financial minutemen, right? We're literally financial revolutionaries that can talk about this stuff openly without degrees, without licenses. And it's a sovereign network. Like anybody can join this network without an email address, without a phone number, without a social security number. Anybody can join the network, right? Voluntarily without providing any of that information.
Well, and there's also been what I would consider to be the same deep state push against having this conversation, the same way that Q as a whole was, the same way that Donald Trump himself was, where, you have the crypto scammers and you have people out here. Financially, everybody on Telegram has gotten the message from some account that's not really them saying, are you ready for the bank collapse? Right. So I think that does a huge disservice to having a real open and honest conversation about what it is you talk about, because so many people are just so turned off. I'll be honest, I got sick of hearing it. I got sick of looking at accounts that I was following telling me, are you ready for bank collapse in broken English? And for some reason it was always XRP and use this to send me all of your money. And we were all like, go F yourself. Nobody wanted to talk about it.
Exactly. And so I believe all of that is good. Like this is a learning process because we've been so programmed by our current dollar and fiat system that we don't know what truth is. We don't know what value is. It's been so distorted over the years. And so part of those rug pulls of like getting scammed with crypto is actually kind of a wake-up call. Like the rug pulls pain is how you learn, right? Like you touched the stove when you were a kid, you didn't do that again, right? You're not going to send money to strangers and believe these idiots that come over with the QFS or the XRP, which are always clowns because that's what they do. And so, look, you have to get past that. You got to be like, look, I've maybe got scammed before, but I got to take a fresh look at this stuff. Trump is on board now. I don't have to fight against Trump anymore, right? Literally, Trump is on board, and he's talked about it in a significant way. And so people need to realize that the crypto scams and stuff are kind of a camouflage. And that camouflage is a good thing and a bad thing, but you have to force yourself to really understand what is money, right? Why do I trade my blood, sweat, and tears for a piece of paper that somebody in Washington can print with the press of a button? Why do they get to steal my time and energy from my family by debasing our currency? Inflation is taxation without representation in its purest form. Okay. So each and every one of you are being taxed, and Trump is set up to 50%. This is Trump's words, not mine. Okay. 50% you are being taxed through debasement of the currency. And so if you think you're going to get scammed, or if you don't want to go onto this, like, that's on you, because if you don't learn how to protect your energy, you don't learn how to protect your scarce time on this planet, like, you're just probably going to get more and more depressed about the situation. You're probably going to have less and less time with your family. And so people need to realize how powerful this technology is to encode your energy in a thermodynamically sound system that nobody can fuck with. No politician, no military, no government can stop this thing at this point.
How many people do you think put all their money in dinar?
What, the Iraqi one or whatever?
Yeah, whatever. Look, I'm not laughing at you if you did it. I'm sorry, but
I did not. Yeah,
it's a thing.
It is a thing. Look, people are gamblers, right? They're always looking for the fiat like rush. They're always looking for that hit of fiat. And so what we're saying is, this isn't a gamble. This isn't a financial investment. This is a weapon. This is a weapon of sovereignty. This is a new rule of law in cyberspace that nobody and no small group of people can change. Okay. This is a communication system. Bitcoin is so much more than money. Money is actually the least interesting part of Bitcoin. And that is the point of a lot of this, because funny enough, Joe, each piece of Bitcoin is actually US military technology, right? You've got TCP/IP, which is DARPA, that runs on the internet. Okay. You've got
hold on. G Money, you are so smart. It's obvious that your passion is through the roof. I want you to start. I want to back you up. I want to hear that statement again. You said that money is the least important, the least interesting or important part of Bitcoin. Can you
100%.
explain that?
Absolutely. Okay. Because from that perspective of a monetary system, right? What would you pay to have the ultimate freedom, Joe? What is that worth to you? Can you put a price on that?
It's priceless.
It is priceless. Okay. And so what if there was a way to encode laws, right? Like laws of society in cyberspace. So replace a politician, right? A man that you say, oh, hey, I'm going to stop abortion. Oh, hey, I'm going to stop transgenders reading in the people's, right, in the schools. Okay. We don't have any control over a small group of people, 350 people in Washington, that get to make the rules for 300 million of us. Okay. So what this transition is we're exchanging politicians, okay, for digital laws in cyberspace that no one person, government, or military can change. Okay. And these are foundational principles. And so this is getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but the ultimate sovereignty is literally for us in cyberspace. Okay. And that is why I believe Space Force is so important. And this even gets talked about in the drops. If you go, it might be a good place to start is the John Perry Barlow Declaration of Independence in Cyberspace. Can you bring that up?
Well, repeat.
Let me give you a link to it real quick.
Why
don't we start there with your audience, just because this is such an important, and it's not that long actually. And so let me send it to you real quick.
Where are you sending it to me?
I'm going to send it to you.
You can do the private chat here. You can wherever you send it, I'll get it. Just tell me where.
Let me just grab it real quick, because this is such an important part of the conversation. So here, actually, I'll just send you this link here. I'll send in my site, private chat.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so pull up this one real quick, because this is because this was actually in the Q drops. So this Declaration of Independence in cyberspace was part of the Q drops. So scroll down to the bottom. Keep going. Okay, Declaration of Independence in cyberspace. So if you want to zoom in on that, let's listen and read what John Perry Barlow had to say. So if we scroll in on that, maybe a little bit more.
That's about as high. Oh no, there we go.
There you go. Okay. So Declaration of Independence of the Independence of Cyberspace. And so it talks about governments of the industrial world. You wary giants of flesh and steel, I come to you from cyberspace, the new home of mind. On behalf of the future, I ask you of the past to leave us alone. Keep going. Scrolling. There you go.
Sorry, I was trying to make it bigger.
Yeah, you're good. To leave us alone. You are not welcome among us. You have no sovereignty where we gather. We have no elected government, nor are we likely to have one. So I address you with no greater authority than that with which liberty itself always speaks. I declare the global social space we are building to be naturally independent of the tyrannies you seek to impose on us. You have no moral right to rule us, nor do you possess any methods of enforcement we have true reason to fear. Governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. You have neither solicited nor received ours. We did not invite you. You did not know us. Now do you know our world? Cyberspace does not lie within your borders. Do not think that you can build it as though it were a public construction project. You cannot. It is an act of nature, and it grows itself through our collective actions. You have not engaged in our great and gathering conversation, nor did you create the wealth of our marketplaces. You do not know our culture, our cities, our ethics, or our unwritten codes that already provide our society more order than could be obtained by any of your impositions. You claim there are problems among us that you need to solve. You use this claim as an excuse to invade our precincts. Many of these problems don't exist. Where there are real conflicts, where there are wrongs, we will identify them and address them by our own means. We are forming our own social contract. This governance will arise according to the conditions of our world, not yours. Our world is different. Cyberspace consists of transactions, relationships, and thought itself arrayed like a standing wave in the web of our communications. Ours is a world that is both everywhere and nowhere, but it is not where the bodies live. So you can go to the next page. There's one more page I hit next. Yeah, there's just another quick page here. But if you keep going through this, right, maybe we can have everybody go. If you guys go to 1776.love, go read this entire thing. Okay?
I can put the whole link in my Telegram.
Put the link. Yeah, 1776.love is the link, and they can go read that. But it's talking about a world that they can enter without privilege or prejudice, according to race or economic power. So anybody can enter the world of cyberspace. Okay, so John Perry Barlow is setting up this declaration of independence in cyberspace. Okay, that no government really controls it, right? Anybody with the phone can kind of log in. Now, there is censorship, and there's things out there. And so the battlefield of cyberspace is here. Okay, however, what is the weapon on this battleground? Right? There's all different types of weapons. There's AI, there's bots, there's all this stuff, but none of that actually has power. And that's where we get into Bitcoin. That's where we get into the conversation of what is proof of work. That is what we get into consideration of what are the rules of law that can be encoded in cyberspace to where we no longer have to give a shit about what new tax laws they pose or what new laws they pose, and they're going to fund with their own fake money, because draining the swamp at his essential thing is literally stealing all their energy. Okay, because the swamp, think about this, right? If the Federal Reserve, right, prints money that is worthless, okay, how can they fund these projects, right? How can they pay the federal employees? If we remove the actual root of the cancer, which is the Federal Reserve, the swamp drains itself. Federal government employees need to learn to code. Trump doesn't have to fire anybody. The swamp literally drains itself because we've drained them of their energy. And so that's where we get back into this dig back about Covfefe. But that's just kind of the backdrop, is think of cyberspace as a declaration of independence in that realm. And so this is why we're going, what I believe is this digital 1776. But feel free to stop me, because I'll go through this and I'll start rambling and I'll just go on a
I love it. I mean, you're making me think of things, but to be honest, I think I'll derail you. I would love to hear this presentation, and maybe we'll go back and forth after. I mean, if I have something, I will, but.
Perfect. Okay, cool. And so again, we talked about the 315s. We talk about when Trump into the White House. Okay. The first portrait he put up was that of Andrew Jackson. All right. Funny enough, Andrew Jackson was born on March 15th. Okay. So if you guys didn't know that, and Andrew Jackson.
That is super interesting. Hold on, you can't just skim past that. That's a big deal with all your 315 talk.
This is just the tip, bro. It gets even crazier. Okay, why Andrew Jackson? Well, Joe, I'm sure you're pretty well versed in history and know about Andrew Jackson, because he, of course, is known for destroying the second central bank of the United States. Okay, he was the one who called the bankers, the vipers, in the den, right, that eliminated them. And so he actually, his claim to fame was that he defeated the bankers, right? He was so against central bankers. And here we have a tweet from Kanekoa that Trump retweeted. And he says, "Can you imagine a president taking on the Federal Reserve System today? That's what Andrew Jackson did in 1832 and changed America forever. Jackson was once asked how he would clean up the corruption in Washington, D.C. Jackson's reply was, drain the swamp." You know what's funny about this tweet is this tweet was actually this tweet was sent out at 3:15 too, I believe, from Trump.
Bro,
I don't have the timestamp, but if you go look it up on Trump's tweets, it's like there's like a 3:15 delta there too on that one, or it's an 11:11, one of the two. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
well, I hope I'm not jumping ahead on you, but I mean, that points to JFK as well, right? Isn't that pretty much the reason he got assassinated?
Yeah, 11-11-0, which we'll get into here in a minute.
Okay,
well.
yeah,
Yep.
I figured. Go ahead.
Okay. Again, Devin Nunes with a 3:15. So I always told people, hey guys, see what's happening on March 15th. Look for any Covfefe hits, right? And sure as shit, this is before this came out, right? Like, we get a Devin Nunes Covfefe tweet from Dunkin' Donuts. And so look, Dunkin' Donuts DD is like a 44. And I believe a lot of this kind of coincides with the fall of Rome and Caesar. And so we know what happened in 44 BC. And so, there's a reason it's called the Ides of March, right? The Ides of March is the 74th day, right, of the Roman calendar, corresponding to 3:15, and was notable in Rome as a deadline for settling debts, with the focus here being on debt. Have you ever looked at the recent figures of the U.S. debt? Well, we just, funny enough, passed 35.1 trillion now, actually. So back then, when I wrote this, it was 31.5. We've already gone another 4 trillion since this article has been released. I did this, a year ago. And so, look, if you get 315, 3 times 15 is 45. Okay. Of course, the 45th president of the United States is Donald Trump. And Satoshi Nakamoto, the pseudonym for the person who developed Bitcoin, funny enough, put their birthday as 4/5 when they started this and had their internet account on the bitcoin.org forum. Okay. Not only that, but if you know anything about World War II, V equals victory. And so they would I think there was a Morse code for victory, V for victory. It was what they would send out to propose like winning and all this other sort of stuff. So let's keep going. These are some more things with this, but let's scroll down. And again, we're going to get into some of this. FE and 11/11. Okay. 11/11, right? Armistice Day, Veterans Day, is the 315th day of the year, funny enough. Okay. November 11th is significant. I'm telling you, bro.
We've passed the mathematical possibility for coincidence, like 3.
Yeah, and this is just like actually getting started. What's funny, and this is what makes it so fun, because I want to make a brief observation, and this is again back to the numerology. Okay, about repeating number sequences and how some might think there's some kind of power or magic behind them. And in numerology, repeating numbers are seen as amplification of energy. The more numbers shows up around a person, the stronger the vibration behind it, which is influencing that person's life. Okay, and so Tesla, right? If you want to find the sequence of the universe, think of terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And so what I believe is that these frequencies, these numbers are like that vibration. And so look, numbers rule the universe, right? God wrote the universe in mathematics, right? The numbers and math that are here in America translate to anywhere in the world. And so you can't actually get away from that. Okay, this is where the stuff's going to start getting really cool, because this is where we
start getting cool yet.
Well, dude, I'm gonna prove to you now that the Q drops are actually referencing this numerology in terms of Bitcoin, is what I believe, in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of Covfefe, because we're gonna start going there and go. So I don't know how many times Q dropped this, but how many times did Q talk about following the money? Right? Probably a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the key here on drop 11, you see the 11/11 is military intelligence versus CIA, NSA. Okay. And so 187 is kind of like sums up the entire story. Okay.
Also murder.
It is also murder, like murder the banks. And so Trump always brings up the price of gas at 187 and some other stuff. So I think it's kind of an ode to this. But if you scroll down a little bit, You see there. Can you zoom in just a bit? My eyes are a little bit.
I can try. You want me to
Here,
read this?
I got my glasses here. Here you go.
I can read the post. If you
Okay,
want
go
me
ahead.
to.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So the post says, my actual conclusion is probably what's delayed me the most, as it's been mind-blowing understanding our country now. I totally get it. Current conclusions, so Titanic. Rothschild screws America by making our money worthless. Crash of 29. Tons of government, which doesn't exist. The problem Rothschild created, but a war helps. CIA, everyone blackmailed with sex tapes. Media consumed CIA. Country forced a hard left. Population to puppets. Causes uprising by certain patriots like Kennedy, Reagan, and Trump, which we've all been shown here just recently, right? Where was I at? Reagan and Trump. And while they managed to kill Kennedy and outlast Reagan, enough lessons were learned that we are now finally ready to clean house and become America again. First time about 100 years. Wow. Let me say something before you go. Donald Trump, one of my favorite clips of Donald Trump, probably my top 10, is him saying our enemies can no longer think they can wait us out.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is like they've had unlimited energy. Okay, the enemy, if you want to hold on there real quick, the enemy has always had unlimited energy, which means no matter what we did, they would just print more money. Whatever matter what we did, they would just print more money or create new programs. So we never had an actual way to beat them before. Like we never had a chance to actually defeat them. And so this talks about it, right? The Rothschilds, the crash of 29. And I want you to understand Reagan, Kennedy, Trump, or Kennedy, Reagan, Trump, right? These three characters are in this drop that talk about this whole picture. And so look, America was born before the Federal Reserve. Okay. 1913, the same year the Federal Reserve was created, is the same year they created the IRS. Okay. So they created all of us into tax slaves back in 1913, but America 1776 was bright and beautiful in its creation. Okay. And so we have to understand that our identity shouldn't be tied to the dollar. Okay. Because the dollar is a complete bastardization of the American value system. Okay. And we were taken over by bankers in 1913. And now, 100 years later, we can finally fight them back digitally. And we no longer have to rely on other means that are of kinetic warfare. We no longer have to shed blood to defeat these tyrants. And so this is where we're going to talk about this. So scroll down a little bit.
While I'm scrolling, G Money, do you own any silver?
I got rid of all my metals about a year ago.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I was stacking gold with Ron Paul for 10 years, my friend. Okay. And I've
that's really interesting to me. Like even right now, you're blowing my mind. You are, right? So I feel much more confident in my purchases of crypto. Sorry to sidebar, but I feel like I'd be nuts but you're telling me you sold all your metal.
I sold all my metal because I now have secure access to my digital property in cyberspace that is redundant. If the banks go down, I can still transact. All I need is an internet connection, right? I've got Starlink, I've got other stuff. I can still transact with an internet
That's
connection.
a scary statement. As long as I have internet access.
Well, here's the thing. You can actually transact through ham radios. You can translate through satellites. But I think the gold people, to some degree, are kind of doomers. Because if we go, like, if they talk about like 9 meals till, 9 meals till chaos. Like, if we go out of power for like more than 9 meals, literally people start eating each other. Okay. So that's not long. And so I don't like to think about that world. My chance of thinking that scenario plays out is very, very slim. Okay. I don't think I've got weapons, I've got bullets, I've got food, but I've got digital redundant networks, and I can just drive to the next city if I need to do. I can always find a way to transact. I believe I even have the portable Starlink system. So I can always plug in somewhere and get internet if I had to. Right.
Yeah. I'm not hating on what you're telling me. I'm just saying, I'm speaking for, I think, the audience. Like, there is a fear factor in, okay, look, in school, when they said take a typing class, I was like, for what? Like, that's ever going to mean anything? Like, take a computer class. I'm like, for what? I don't give a crap. My dad didn't have a computer.
Well, look, I like to tell people, like, if you want gold and silver, buy like gold and silver is the gateway drug to Bitcoin. Okay. And so buy some, like, put whatever allocation you think in the scenario that's going to happen. If you think we're going to get doom and gloom, Mad Max style civil war, maybe buy a bunch of freaking gold. If you think there is this great awakening and the military is somewhat protecting full out thermonuclear war and civil war, okay, maybe you should probably buy some Bitcoin and be like, hey, I don't think they're going to turn the power off because all of our essential elements to life require power. Trump the other day at Nashville talked about we would have so much electricity that we would be telling you, please, Mr. President, please, we have too much electricity. We don't want it all. So the people that think the power is going out are completely out of their minds. Now that we have Trump fully on board with becoming America becoming one of the most energy proficient nations in the world. And so he talked about that as part of his top 20 campaign as being a top energy producer. And so I think we're just scratching the surface with energy, and that's going to become a big, big deal. And look, at the end of this, I think we get to free energy, and we can get into that too at some point.
I'm going to distract you again one more time,
Yep.
but do you know that I think that I think that the white hats, look, this can go for 10 different subjects, and you can call me insane if you want to. A lot of people do. But like, I believe that the guys that are in control are the ones that took us off the internet. I believe that the guys that are in control, being the good guys, also intentionally raised the price of energy to cause some of the inflation we're seeing, because I believe we're in an exposure op. I think that they're showing us what the bad guys had planned for us. And so I do think that they can correct that issue very quickly when we get to the other side of this exposure op.
100%. Yeah, like would we have known tyrannical censorship without Facebook, without Twitter, right? We wouldn't have even known what that was like, right? That was part of the awakening. That was part of us getting pissed off.
And it's very real. Like China really did attempt to infiltrate and take over this country through corrupt politicians. What they showed us was a very real threat. I believe it's been shown to us in a controlled exposure op, right? I keep saying the same thing, but the same controlled exposure op, so that we would see it now instead of it being hidden from us. And so we're standing up against it, right? The plan was always we the people get up and do something about it, right? Become aware of what's happening so that we fight back and we don't allow this to happen for the next 100 years again, right?
100%.
But I do think that they can correct it. I think that drill baby drill is a complete clue at that.
100%. And I believe energy is the key to human progress. And I believe the more energy, we can produce is good for everybody. And so that will come into play with not only, I believe, Tesla being a big part of this, and how they hid Tesla technologies for over 100 years and made us use these Flintstone-like gas combustion cars when we can actually use something different. And so I think free energy is coming at some point. And this Bitcoin helps us get to that level. Okay, this talks about the hash war. This talks more about maybe some more into the next article that we'll talk about. But 100% on board with all of what you're saying, and that the exposure operation was meant to cause pain to awaken people in every sense of that. And so we call them rug pulls, right? Pain is a teacher. But anyways, if you want to get back to this, okay, again, 11/11. The 315th day of the year is 11/11. The first mention of the Rothschild owned and controlled banks was drop 135. Okay, is that a combination of 315? Rambo, can I get is that a hit or not?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. And so if you look at this, right, and what date is that also on 135? It's at 11/11.
Number 11.
And what is the timestamp? What do you see the timestamp? 113.
It's dumb.
But you'll understand why the 113 is important as well. But in this drop at the end, scroll up just a tad. It talks about the U.S. Federal Reserve is a privately owned company sitting on its very own patch of land, immune to the governing laws of the United States, also the Fed and the IRS. Okay, funny enough. Yeah, by the way, did you know the address of the IRS?
Isn't it? Oh, no.
It's 1111 Constitution Avenue.
Oh.
Okay, scroll down. It's going to keep going, man. It's going to keep going. Okay, a clean house or a cleansing of the temple, right? When is the only time Jesus actually got violent?
If I had Pepe Deluxe on here, he would answer.
Well, it was in the temple, and it was against the money changers. Okay, so if you scroll down, you'll see another Q drop.
That's interesting.
And that's Jesus basically throwing the tables of the money changers. And so you'll see that a drop at the top. It says, you see the timestamp 11/11. Okay.
Wow.
If you scroll down, right? What does Q talk about? He talks about a clean house is very important. Maybe he meant a clean temple. Maybe Q is talking about the money changers need to be cleansed of the temple, right? Before we can actually get a new foundation of truth. Okay. And so again, this is another hit to what I believe 1111 timestamp could possibly be and how to interpret and put the orange lens on a lot of this stuff. Now let's get to JFK. Okay.
Holy crap.
JFK's executive order 11110. Okay.
Holy crap.
Attempted to remove the evils of the central bankers when he authorized the issuance of Executive Order 1111, which is an effort to transfer power from the Federal Reserve to United States Department of the Treasury by replacing Federal Reserve notes with silver certificates. Okay, and this is a fact, right? Scroll down, and even recently, RFK talked about how this specific executive order was meant to reel in the power of the Federal Reserve. These is not my words. This is RFK's own words that is now right on the Trump transition team. He was at Bitcoin. He was a big Bitcoiner. He's all in on hiring Jason Lowry as part of his administration. And so that's JFK's executive order 11110. Okay, so keep scrolling down there. And what you'll notice is currency back then said at the top, United States note versus Federal Reserve note. So the difference here is United States note had no interest attached to it. Okay. These were dollars backed by the government of the Treasury. There was no interest, meaning the taxpayers didn't pay this interest. There was no inflation without representation, right? Taxation without representation. Federal Reserve notes are currency issued with interest. Guess what? We are the cattle that pay the interest on that debt. Okay, so a big difference there. And did you pay attention to, okay, this is also an important thing to what happened during COVID, okay? So what a lot of people don't understand is some really crazy shit went down in the financial markets. Now they understand that happened, but they didn't see what Trump was doing in the background, okay? So they approved a boatload of new programs, unleashing unlimited. Now Trump printed a fuck ton of money, right? And so I do believe it was Trump's intention to print an entire huge part of money, just a fuck ton, and then delay that inflation until Joe Biden actually came into office, right? Because
there's a hint. I agree with you 100%, G Money. I agree with you. It's part of the reason he gave out the COVID money, and then when he left, he said, they deserve more. Give them more COVID money.
Absolutely. And so, what better way? Like the financial system couldn't have collapsed under Trump, right? It had to collapse under them, and that was always a stickling thing to me too, because I'm like, look, we're not going to bring this thing down unless we have some kind of similar 1929, but that can't happen under Trump. It has to go down under a Democrat president that's not even legitimate in the minds of many. And so I believe it's going to go down on Joe Biden, possibly Kamala. So we'll see what happens in that. But look, unlimited QE, $1 trillion a day. And so in essence, like they did all these new programs, but the Treasury, not the Fed, bought all these securities as backstopping the loans. The Fed is acting as a banker, providing financing. The Fed hires BlackRock to purchase all these securities and handle the administration of this SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle that allowed them to do all this stuff. In other words, the federal government nationalized large swaths of U.S. financial markets, and the Fed provided the money to do it. So what this essentially did was it merged the Fed and the Treasury into one organization. Okay, so scroll down a little bit. So did Trump accomplish what Kennedy attempted to do, but was reversed by Ronald Reagan? Okay, so what Trump did was basically he kind of merged the Fed and the Treasury together. Okay, and he did that through that SPV, that special purpose vehicle that backstopped all the loans using BlackRock. And so funny enough, we get Ronald Reagan in this picture, dude, which I didn't even think of back in the day. But that Q Drop 187 mentions Kennedy, mentions Reagan, mentions Trump. Okay. Now, Executive Order 11110 didn't really do anything. It actually gave bankers more power to some degree. This is correct. However, I believe the intention was to merge the Treasury with the Fed, not to strip their power, which this has been confirmed, by the way. So funny enough, the person who wrote the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, Edward G. Griffin, he actually said that Executive Order 1111 wasn't powerful at all. It didn't do shit. Okay. But RFK actually came out after that and said, no, this was in fact, rein in the powers of the Federal Reserve. And so if the executive order 1111 wasn't an issue, why did Reagan reverse it shortly after he was shot? Okay, so if you scroll down, funny enough, so Reagan reversed executive order 11110. Yes, executive order 12608, which revoked the entire executive order 11110. But not only that, Reagan did it on September 9th. Okay, and so we'll find out why September 9th may be important, but he basically reversed the entire executive order 11110 on 9/9. Okay, 9/9 is a rare date, and we'll understand why that may be important too. Okay, but let's just talk about what is taxpayer theft, right? This drop talks about Kennedy was an outsider, he was assassinated. Reagan was an outsider, assassination attempt. Now we have Trump, right? Assassination attempt. Okay, outsider.
That's completely deliberate. And you know what? I don't mean to interrupt you again, but you know what I just heard in your description? There's been a statement that I've been working on through my research.
Okay.
And it really has nothing to do with the financial system as you're talking about, but it's so funny how it's parallel, because this whole time I've been working on this is, I paint a picture with words to try to describe what I think I'm watching as far as the whole government's concerned. And you seem to have just done it specifically with the financial system. And that statement is that we're watching the systematic destruction of the old guard being made to look like incompetence and tyranny at the hands of Joe Biden.
Yep. 100%.
And that's exactly what you just described, specifically to the financial system.
100%. That's what's happening. And it's being done on purpose. There is a plan. And that is why Bitcoin is an essential part of it once you understand all of the different lenses that you can put on and apply to this.
I want people, so this is for the layman, right? This is for just the people that don't dig. Like, obviously you do, G Money, and like I like to think that I do. Systematic. Imagine you are up against the globalists, the central banking system, the top of the pyramid. This isn't something where you can just say, we're not going to do what you say anymore. No, this is systematic. This takes, who told us everything had to be done by the book?
Well, I mean, here's another part too, is that, look, if we were going to actually go through with this plan, what is the first thing you think patriots needed to establish before they even started this?
I would say information control.
Yeah. Communications, right? If you don't have, right, cryptographically sound communications, you can't coordinate with your generals, right? Because every system can be man in the middle attacked, right? You've got the CIA, you've got the FBI, you've got Mossad. They can interrupt your communications, right? How do we win World War II, right? With the Enigma machine, right? We cracked the code, okay, of their secret communications. Foundationally, Bitcoin is a communication system that cannot be cracked. Okay, back to real quick about each part of Bitcoin being nuclear-proof military weapons grade technology. Okay, SHA-256, the algorithm that is unhackable, is literally what we use to secure our nuclear launch codes with. Okay. TCP/IP created by DARPA, right? GPS created by the military. Okay. C++ was an American invention. You have the Tor browser created by the United States Navy. You have all these different elements of Bitcoin, each piece together are literally military encrypted technology done by the US government. Okay. All right. As we continue with this, the 9/9 date is significant, and I'm going to tell you why. And so, as you may know, Bitcoin is still not a popular subject or concern for many Americans. I believe this may change at the precipice. And so this date, September 9th, right? You see up there, there's a 9/9, but scroll down to the bottom. It says the swamp runs deep. Sometimes you cannot tell the people the truth. You must show them. Only then at the precipice will people find the will to change, to participate. Okay. And so this is important because we're kind of getting precipicey, but I don't think we're there yet, right? We're still on edge. People not totally at the precipice yet. And so, should we get into Pepe the Frog? I know this is your favorite part.
I really want to hear that.
All right, so go ahead and scroll down. Okay, this is funny because it says you can't just use meme magic to evoke an ancient Egyptian frog god in order to get elected president. And it's like, that's where you're wrong, kiddo. Praise Kek, right? And so that's actually, Kek is actually an old ancient frog god, okay? And his name was, and it was Kek, K-E-K, all right? All right, so G Money, how the heck does Pepe the Frog fall into any of this? Well, let's dive in. Trump tweeted himself as Pepe the Frog, Joe, on what date? 10/13/2015. Is there a 315 in there?
Yes, there is.
Okay. There's a 315. Now imagine, now that doesn't show up because someone deleted the actual like image or whatever, but that tweet is still there, right? You can see it 10/13/2015. There's a 315. Okay. So we scroll down. Why is Pepe with Trump in a 315? See, so how does this connect to Covfefe? Well, if you look closely at the date this was posted, it was on 10/13/2015. You'll see another 315. Okay, G-Money Stretch. I still don't understand how it connects. That's because we need to look deeper into Pepe. Did you know, Joe, that the first Pepe minted on the Bitcoin blockchain was done on September 9th, 2016? The first Pepe was literally called Rare Pepe. In fact, Bitcoin uses op-layer return counterparty that works through the op-return protocol. Hillary Clinton attacked Pepe the Frog, calling us the basket of deplorables on 9/9/2006. You don't have to play that whole thing, but it's like a 2-minute video. But that's just the sauce on Hillary. So if you want to scroll down, okay. Now Hillary launched an all-out assault on Pepe, right? Pepe was labeled a hate symbol, putting up the explainer of Pepe the Frog on her campaign website. The ADL jumped in. And so literally she put this like explainer on Pepe the Frog and how white supremacist, right? They literally attack. It's like the Streisand effect, right? The more you attack this innocent frog.
I've been called like there's just because I say friends with no I on Twitter, like I use for the show.
Yeah.
Just because I've said that, I have been attacked by a mob of insane
Are you serious?
liberals calling me racist. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's so funny.
Oh man, it's so great. And so they attack Pepe, right? But for whatever reason, scroll down a little bit. Okay. So now here we go. Okay. So if we start looking at Pepe's, these are NFTs on Bitcoin. These were minted in 2016 before Q ever dropped anything. Okay. These are second layer on chain. I can prove all of this stuff to you on chain. Okay. The first card of 1774, funny enough, 1774, that's kind of when the American Revolution began in some sense. I know it was until 1776, the American, Declaration of Independence, but 1774 is kind of where this began, right? And Mike, the anonymous creator, by the way, the person who created this card is still anonymous. Nobody knows who he is. Okay, it's still anonymous, just like Satoshi Nakamoto, just like Q. Okay, now look at the card closely. Tell me what you see in the card, Joe. Can you tell me what you see in the card?
315.
There's a 3 in the card. This is why I'm crazy, Joe. This is why I'm crazy, right? You understand this?
That's funny, dude. Oh my god.
Okay. So if you keep going, I can prove to you that all this is done on chain. This is the Nakamoto card. And I can prove to you. Here's the block numbers. Minted on block 428-919 on 9/9. You can see the date there, 9/9. Now, if you take rare is Ronald Reagan, right? It's almost a synonym for rare. Also, R is the 18th letter of the alphabet. Okay. 9 + 9 = 18. R. Now, here's where it gets kind of weird with the rare.
Whoa, Ronald Reagan. Okay,
Yeah.
Keep going. I'm trying to keep up.
So here's where I'm now. What I believe this is kind of what we're seeing through these memetics of these NFTs is kind of like this power between good and evil. Okay, the rare side is kind of like the evil side. It's kind of like 18 RR is actually 666. Okay, so if you divulge down rare, the R's, you get 18s, right? Which is you can divulge down further to 666. If you take Pepe is actually 16.5, which is actually 2121 or 1111 if you subtract it. So you've got evil versus good, right? You also have Pepe being a 777, right? If you take 21 divided by 3, you get 777. So you get this weird like 666 of 18 versus 777 of 21. It's like this the power, the battle between good and evil. It's got that that yin and the yang. Okay, is what I believe.
Have you? I got to ask you when you say that. Have you gone to war with that Donnie Darkin account at all?
No, I don't even know who that is.
Oh, I do.
I stay away from the trolls, dude. Like, there's so many trolls out there. Like, I just ignore and block them because if they're not on Signal, like, I could literally care less.
Yeah, you just legitimately baited that guy. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so scroll down a little bit. Right? Do you notice anything odd about Rare Pepe? Don't worry, I'm here to help you. Obviously, the 315 is in there. Okay. Now, if we keep digging, right? Okay, hold on. Before you get to this one, hold on. Scroll down. Okay, if you keep digging into this thing, the 315th card of the series is actually Pepe Rare, which is an inverse of Rare Pepe, right? You get this mirrored effect. So there's all these weird things that happen in this series of cards. Now, this is the ultimate Q proof for any of your listeners that want to understand the ultimate Q proof is right here. Okay, Joe, scroll down and show everybody. Okay, what does this look like? It's Trump on a dragon, right?
Pepe Trump.
Pepe Trump on a dragon. There's the games of Trump. What do you see there at the bottom, Joe?
Gosh.
What do you see at the bottom? Joe, what do you see at the bottom?
Dude, this is a blast. I'm having so much fun with you, bro. This is awesome.
So do you see the 17s or am I crazy?
I see them.
Okay. So you've got 1717. Funny enough, we are in the year of the dragon. Okay. This is the year of the dragon. And Trump came out for Bitcoin. So scroll back up a little bit. I want you to click on that link. Let's go verify it for everybody.
Was this
chain.
wait? When is this card's birthday?
I know. Yeah. Go ahead. Click on the games of Trump. Click on that. Click on that link
right here.
Yeah. Click on that. We're going to prove this to everybody on chain. Okay. So scroll in a little bit. Can you zoom in a little bit, maybe? Okay. So this is the games of Trump. If you go into the middle there, do you see where it says issuances? Scroll down a little bit. Go down a little bit to the right. Yeah. Issuances. Click on issuances right there. Up above a little bit. Up above. Right.
Oh, here.
There. Issue. Now this is provably on chain. Okay. Go back down where it says 7 years ago. Do you see 7 years ago? Down at the bottom there? 7 years ago. How many were issued back then, Joe? How many, Joe? How many?
I see 1,717.
1717, right? Now go ahead and click on that so you can actually prove it yourself when it was minted.
Here?
No, click on the block number, the 482855. That's the block number it was minted on. Okay. And so if you click on issuances over there so you can see it, the games of Trump. Go to the right. Click on issuances again. Yeah, click on that. You see the games of Trump, 1717, right? You see that?
Gosh.
What's the date there, Joe? When was it minted? Scroll up a little bit.
7 years ago.
It's right there. The date right there. 831. Do you see 831? 831.
Wow.
When did Q first drop? October 28th.
Yeah, October 28th.
This is
was that
2
zero?
months. This is almost 2 months before Q ever dropped.
You know what? It aligns with so much, right? We talk about on the show how far back does this operation really go?
Exactly.
In tons. This is just another one to throw on the pile.
Dude,
that's mind blowing.
This is the ultimate Q proof. Like this was minted before Q ever came on board. Now, people understand like why I was so hardcore and polarizing about Bitcoin being part of this plan. Like I have literally mathematical proof. I don't need to like try to think about it. Like I don't know what the chances of this are happening, Joe, but it's kind of probably impossible, I think, to be able to figure this all out. Scroll down and you can see the card again if you want.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Okay. This is minted on Bitcoin, right? And we're in the year of the dragon, and Donald Trump has come out big for Bitcoin. And this is almost the 7th year anniversary of this card coming up here in a couple days. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let's go back to the dig, the games of Trump card. Trump riding a dragon, 1717. Okay, keep going. We've just proven all that.
That's what we just went through.
Okay, Putin Pepe is card series 315. So series 3, card 15, which I believe Putin is a big part of this plan as well. And you notice they've got that same smug look, right? Notice the same smug look with the hand on the chin? Right?
Dude. What the hell?
Yeah, dude. Okay. Now scroll down. Now you know about BRICS, right? We know about the BRICS SWIFT system, and we've got now, dude. This next one's going to be even fucking crazier too. Now you know about Russia, China. Okay, keep going, right? We kind of all know about that. 1111, right? We get another drop of talking about wealth, power, generations by power, right? You see the 135 in the timestamp.
Yep.
Okay, and you've got 1111 135 in the timestamp, right?
Oh my
and then
gosh.
you've got what if
the whole drops? Hold on. Wealth over generations buys power. Power over generations buys more wealth and control. more wealth and control by its countries and its people, families combined. This is crazy, dude.
We keep going, right? What is the keystone? And then you can go down to the bottom and it talks about what if China, Russia were helping POTUS, right? Keep going down, I think.
Do you know how many times Trump referenced plus, plus, plus?
Oh, yeah. What if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the NWO?
Look, excuse my language, guys. Holy shit, bro. Hold on. I need to back up because that is my. Is there a Pepe card of Yao Ming or anything? Just these two?
No, I've got more. I got more on this too. If you actually go down, you got there's an Assange connection. There's other connections too that you'll trip out on. But yeah, keep going down, and then we'll look at the Senate condemning Putin as a war criminal on 3/15/22. Right? There's Putin with a 3/15 hit. Keep going down, and one step further, the Russian embassy itself tweeted a smug Pepe back in 2017. Okay, on the anniversary. Yeah, this is a Russian embassy, Joe. Okay, now everybody knows that Pepe the Frog are all over the Q drops, right? We don't have to be like, right? And so this Delta, funny enough, was the day on January 9th. January 9th, the Bitcoin core code was released to the entire world. Started at 0 coins. Anybody in the world who plugged in a computer could go start mining Bitcoins. It was a free open system, right? No person controlled it. It started at 0. The network started with nothing, Joe. Joe Schmo from anywhere in the world could start mining Bitcoin on day 1 in January 9th, 2009. Russian embassy tweets Pepe the Frog in January 9th, 2009. That is a direct Bitcoin to Pepe hit, right? Do you understand? Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, I'm a little mind blown right now.
Okay, so scroll down, keep going. There's more. The Bitcoin Genesis block by Satoshi was created on January 3rd in closed environment, then released to everyone January 9th via source. Melania even wished a happy anniversary to Bitcoin. Did you know that in 2022?
I did not know that. I got to be honest with you. That is not a small thing.
You don't think
what
Melania
the hell?
Yeah, dude. How do people miss that? And that was back in 2022, I think. Scroll down. I don't know. Let's see. When was that? Yeah, 2022. Also, you notice 322 is Skull and Bones. Okay. So Skull and Bones, 322. And so I just think that's a kind of a
widely reported that Bitcoin's market cap exceeds US dollar by 1 trillion today.
By the way, notice the 113 there. The 113 is important too. So 113 is important.
1 trillion 13.
Yeah. So I'll explain more of that, how that gets 113.
Okay. You know what? It's making me remember. Melania is used all the time. She's used specifically with her wardrobe. She dressed.
She had a blockchain wardrobe. She had a blockchain wardrobe at one point.
She did. I did know that. The Michael Jackson get up. I've used that one in threads. There's tons of examples of Melania being used as a comp.
Yep.
This doesn't surprise me, although it's mind blowing.
Okay, keep going down. Satoshi Nakamoto, April 5th, according to their profile, their name is born 4/5. President Trump, 45th president. D5, right? Actually equals 45. Okay, so D5 is probably referencing Satoshi or Bitcoin, not actually what we thought it was with George Bush and stuff. And I minted this card called the Orange Man. And this was 2 years ago, bro. This is like 2 or 3 years ago. I basically minted this as proof of publication that I connected the dots between Trump and Bitcoin, which is now actually public source. And so we always talk about future proofs past, right? And so look, the haters in the past could say G Money never had any proof that he was actually right. Now it's becoming more and more like obvious that Trump is involved in Bitcoin to some degree. Okay.
I want to say this, dude, whether anybody that watches this show agrees with you or not, I will say that I am beyond impressed with your passion and dedication to your dig. This is mind blowing. Whether anybody can grasp it or not, you're blowing my mind.
Well, and 100%. I would invite anybody to throw shade at it. If you have something that you can prove that I said is wrong, please do. This is open source. I can prove to you everything on the blockchain. I don't have to make stuff up and say I've got secret intelligence, any of that bullshit that the clowns talk about. So like I can prove all of this. And so Trump talks about Bitcoin as not being a fan on actually this is 7/11. I pulled a wrong date. It's actually 7/11. that he pulled that. So I don't know why I pulled that other date. But keep going down because this is kind of like before Trump came out.
This doesn't throw shade on what you're saying at all to me. If anything, it sounds to me like more of a confirmation because Trump had a tendency of doing that. He's done it
100%.
to a ton of people. I think did the right thing. Mike Pence for one, right?
Yep.
He trashed Pence. Well,
Trashed
if
him.
Pence didn't do what he did, we wouldn't be here in this operation that I believe 117% is saving the nation and waking up everybody.
Yep.
So Trump had he puts bad people in the spotlight and he also takes good people and he spotlights them as bad. It happens all the time.
Absolutely. So keep going down here. And I'm going to show you who Trump hired during his presidency. So don't listen to what Trump said, but listen to Trump. Okay, keep scrolling down. Oh, so actually, funny enough, yeah, we talked about it, but the Covfefe Act, right? Scroll up a little bit. Sorry. Now that if you truly plan to end central bankers and Rothschild's petrodollar, there would need to be a way for the good guys to communicate in order to that was unhackable and unable to be intercepted. Trump couldn't just pick up the phone and call. People had to be secure. Bitcoin is not only a monetary system, but a secure communication system that cannot be intercepted by the bad guys. So how could they communicate with each other? Well, you can communicate securely through the Bitcoin network, and there's also this thing called steganography, which involves hiding secret data within an ordinary non-secret file or message in order to avoid detection. Perhaps an image of Pepe. Sure enough, we have QDrop 2712, which features none other than a Pepe. And talking about communications, it says, "Why must we communicate this way?"
You gotta be kidding. You got
and so you can hide not only messages in images, but you can also hide them. And look at Pepe Q, right? How many times did Pepe in the Q drops?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Should I sell my house and buy Bitcoin, bro?
I'm telling you, bro. If everybody only knew that Bitcoin was part of the plan, they'd probably be buying a lot more of it. So the 40,000 foot view here is central bank digital currencies are coming. Keep scrolling down. And believe that's money is a power to it. Keep going. QDrop 45 says it perfectly. It's not about politics. This is about preserving our way of life and protecting the generations that follow, living in biblical times, united against the invisible enemy of all humanity. Okay, and the invisible enemy is not COVID, is not the CIA. The invisible enemy is literally money printing because you can't really see it. It's invisible. It's an invisible tax. Trump talks about the invisible tax.
That's a great point. But I would even argue that COVID and anything else that people might have thought was that invisible enemy, CIA, they're all arms of the central bank. They're all
exactly
consequences
the henchmen,
arms. Right. These are consequences of what you're saying, which would be the central banking system.
So scroll down. You're going to love this one.
Oh, man, there's more.
Oh, there's always more. Okay. So October 31st. Was the day that Satoshi Nakamoto released the Satoshi white paper. Okay. So now if you think about 113, October 31st is a 113. Okay. So I want to understand what 113 is, but we'll get to that in a sec. But so are you ready to finish what we started? Well, Q, what did you start on October 31st? Scroll down a little bit. Let me scroll up. Sorry, scroll back up. Nothing can stop what is coming is not just a catchphrase.
Whoa.
Right. So that's what kind of ties it back to nothing can stop what is coming. October 31st, the day of the white paper. Are you ready to finish what we started? Well, what did you guys start on 1031? Right. The Satoshi white paper, perhaps, Q,
Okay. So as a second generation anon.
Yeah.
I would not consider myself to be a normie anymore, but there was a point in time when I started following guys like you and all the amazing people I have on the show as more of a fan of your work than somebody that started to try to do it in your footsteps. And I wish I don't know how to even verbalize this thought, but this couldn't. There's been something that I've even shied away from. As of recently, which is a full system change, because the show is making it feel so normal that we're going through this process. And now we see it's a show, but nothing super dramatic has changed, like say arrests
Right.
or Gitmo or a financial collapse or the World War III.
Yeah.
We're just getting surface level, which makes me think there's a lot more coming, but it also makes you doubt the complete financial change, the complete breaking of the central banking system. And what you're insinuating is that that's still very real.
Well, what I'm insinuating is we're in the transition. We've been in the transition since 2009. There will be literally like a time period of when, like, before Bitcoin and after Bitcoin. Like, we have been living in false realities for our entire lives.
100.
We have never had 100% truth. We've never had a North Star. Now, people go, well, G Money, the Bitcoin price goes all up and down in dollars. Okay, your measurement stick is the dollar? Really? You're measuring one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. Like, it only puts out truth every 10 minutes. It's mathematically secure. And so, like, Bitcoin never intentionally, messed up with their system, right? Bitcoin is just its own parallel system that does what it's supposed to do without anybody interfering with it. Now, they can manipulate it, the price up and down, but that manipulation is fake, right? Disinformation is money, right? They always talk about the news is what they say. The news is fake. The war is real. I change that. The news is fiat. The war is Bitcoin, right? Your news and everything is misinformation. The dollar's
100.
misinformation. So
I
your
agree,
measuring
100%.
stick, your measuring stick is bullshit. So don't tell me that the price fluctuates and that's why you can't get involved in it. It's too volatile, because your measuring stick is off. Your scale.
Can I ask you something on that?
Yeah.
Because you can tell people that all you want, right? But they feel shown when it looks like Bitcoin is still tied to the dollar. So if what you're saying is the dollar is the show and the Bitcoin's the war, well, they still seem to be tied together, right? We watched the collapse of the market and Bitcoin dips like crazy, right? And I bought some after Trump went and spoke at Bitcoin, because I'm like, I've seen Elon Musk say, like, a dog or something, and it goes to the moon.
Well,
I'm like, well, I'd be an idiot not to.
And here's how you got to look at it, I believe, Rambo, is that the intentional volatility is meant to scare Americans away. Okay, because Bitcoin, in order for Bitcoin to be successful, it couldn't just be Americans could get all the Bitcoin. This had to be a fair distributed system across the entire globe. And guess what? Guess who got coins distributed to them first? The people in the countries that had inflation ravage them the hardest. Okay, in Venezuela, in all these other different countries, in Lebanon, in El Salvador, right? Their conversations on Friday nights weren't, hey, let's go talk about football and go get drunk. They were like, how the hell do we save our family from completely collapsing because our monetary system on our dollar that we run on our fiat currencies collapse overnight? These currencies literally lose 100% of the value overnight. Imagine you had all your money in the bank and tomorrow a cheeseburger costs $10,000. This is real life for people in other countries. Guess what? Those people found Bitcoin before any Americans did. So what do Americans go? Oh, it fluctuates up and down. It's just some new technology. I'm not going to buy into that, right? But when people are losing 100% of their value of their energy overnight, a 20% dip in Bitcoin isn't that bad versus 100, right? And so these people are learning about money way quicker. The people in China know their money is shit. The people in these other countries know their money is shit. They are more well-versed in what is money than what we are, because we've been comfy with the dominance of the dollar, right? Our prosperity, unfortunately, has come by enslaving other nations through that debt. Okay. And that's not, look, this isn't a healthy pill to swallow, because once you swallow this Bitcoin thing, like, all of your expectations that you've been learned about the dollar and monetary system is bullshit. And that's a hard pill for people to swallow. It's physically uncomfortable, similar to some of the Q stuff.
I don't think it's that hard for this type of audience, because we're well aware that we're not fighting an enemy that is like, has borders. Right. We're fighting an enemy that's well within not only our borders, but our own government. We know that we've been lied to about everything. So I don't think that this is, it's not comfy, as you said. This is a decision that would be completely full of fear. People, look, the drops say that children will unite humanity or whatever, right? I'm paraphrasing, but people feel it in their wallets.
Yeah,
well
I disagree with the children aspect. It's going to be the money. Yeah. I'll be there.
Most people, normal people, can't even grasp the realities that have happened, the horrific realities that have happened to children around the planet. They can't even fathom it being realistic. However, they will not pay $25 a gallon for gas.
Yeah. Well, look, the precipice and pain is coming. And so keep scrolling down there a little bit, right? October 31st, nothing can stop what is coming. Bitcoin white paper day, right? P2P cash, eCash system called Bitcoin. It's completely decentralized, no central server or trusted parties. Because everything is based on crypto proof instead of trust. Give it a try and take a look at the screenshots. Satoshi Nakamoto. Bitcoin white paper dropped 314 the day before 315. Be the autist you know you are. It's about the break. God's about the break, not a break, the break. What's the break referring to? I don't know. Yeah.
I've used this because just recently Donald Trump called the pause the break. So if you know my page or any of the stuff that I put out, I use Donald Trump's words to prove Q is legitimate. That's kind of like my thing. Just like you put that lens of Bitcoin over the drops, I put the drops as a lens over Donald Trump's words. And just recently, he referred to the pause, which I believe to be either, you'll relate to this. You're on Badlands. I don't know if it's devolution. I don't know if it's continuity of government. I don't know how he pulled off the trick. I just know that there's a trick happening. I love all of those different influencers' research. It blows my mind to read them. But I am well aware. I believe that they're all close to the truth and there is something happening. And Donald Trump just referred to the pause in a very, the same statement he made and used the word pause, he now called it a break. So it could tie into your financial Bitcoin stuff 100%. If they're all paralleling, our theories are paralleling this much already, I have no doubt that you're probably over the target with this as well.
So keep scrolling down, maybe some kind of 19. You also talking about 1929, right? And so this drop comes out. It's so funny. So when this drop comes out, Pepe Deluxe was actually mad. He's like, it's like G Money wrote this drop. Me and Pepe Deluxe used to be friends, but he got too triggered by the Bitcoin stuff. So what's the date on that drop there, Joe?
November 11th, 11/11.
Who are the silent thieves? Why are they manipulating you? How are they stealing your wealth? Bubble, crash, steal, lie, repeat. What is inflation? Monetary manipulation. Taxation without representation. Put an end to the endless 19. This is a Q drop, guys. I didn't write this, okay?
It makes sense that you and Pepe don't agree on this, if that's the case, because I'm very good friends with Pepe too. Yeah. And I would like to think after this, you and I probably become very good friends.
Absolutely.
Pepe's deeply rooted in his faith. Pepe's also through and through businessman. He does not want, and I don't think I'll offend him by saying this, but Pepe would never want to see some sort of financial collapse. He's driven to take care of his family. He's got a very spiritual and very business mind. And I love him for it. I call him for advice when I need advice on those topics.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense to me that you would think with what your research that might clash.
Yeah, here's what Pepe has a problem with is I believe Bitcoin is divine. And he takes great offense to that. And so the problem is the evangelicals, they have a hard time with this. Okay. While they're still accepting satanic money, right, with literally Illuminati symbols on them at their church. Okay, so the evangelicals have a hard problem with this because this is Jesus, God sent down an IQ test to earth. This is literally our last option. Okay, if we don't fix this, our society crumbles. We have thermonuclear war, everything goes to shit, our species is done. And I believe this was a gift sent down from God and people working divinely to help this work. So I believe it to that level, and he gets super offended by that because he doesn't understand it from that perspective. And that this is triggering. I get it, right? I get this is triggering, but we can continue to move on so we don't trigger too many people and get on with the
information. Yeah, for sure. I think it's okay. Right. I do think it's okay. Before you move on, I think it's okay to have. Look, I want to make disagreements great again. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. I want everyone to be able to join the conversation and then walk away with a hug and a handshake. right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Pepe knows that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he blocked me and called me a ball worshiper when I said that. So anyway,
That's
1122. 1122, the day they assassinated Kennedy, death to the triumvirate. In ancient Rome, the triumvirate referred to a group of three men holding power, in particular, the first triumvirate, unofficial coalition of Julius Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus in 60 BC. And so obviously they're alluding to the fact that, these are the tri-families that will collapse, who are the puppet masters, the Saud, Rothschilds, Soros, and we already secured the Saud, right? The Saud is on our team now. Rothschild is dead. Funny enough, Rothschild, one of them died when they died. Bitcoin mooned right after that. But this is a little image I did of the Rome burning and Covfefe in the background, and the good guys kind of Nero singing Trump Covfefe as the banks in the background burn, and the new financial system with the Games of Trump guy in the background, kind of overlooking all of that.
love this.
So scroll down more. Let's see. 1111. Can't wait for the green light. 1122, 1111. Well, what green light are they? Could it be a timing of a black swan event for Bitcoin happens and the nation states go all in on 1111 timestamp? I don't know. To be determined, right? We don't know exactly, but we know the 11s are there. Trump dancing. Can't wait for the green light. Funny enough, Trump released a new series of NFTs. And he said in the thing, he's like, yeah, there's an image of me dancing on my NFTs. And I'm like dying because I created this card like, I don't know, 2 years ago or something. It's kind of funny, I don't know, kind of just a weird little, coincidence, I guess. But keep going.
Every once in a while.
Open source intel, guys. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Leave me a comment. Prove me I'm wrong with proof, right? But at this point, it's getting harder because all of it's open source, right? I don't hide stuff. Bitcoin is about being transparent. It's about not trusting people. It's about verifying. And so everything I'm talking about can be verified. If you want to go to the second part of this, because second part of this is when we get into the essentials of what I believe the war is now. Okay, that's laying the foundation of what I believe happened with the Q drops, with Covfefe, with Trump maybe signaling Bitcoin, but 2.0 gets into the battle. Okay, because I'm a militant person in the fact that I believe we need to be here and fight. I've always signed up for this, not for the money, but I signed up for this to fight for the good people and to fight to not let my children, right, have to live through tyranny through this different system that is collapsing. Okay. And so funny enough, when Trump announced his presidency, what was in the background of the elevator, of the golden escalators, Joe?
That definitely says currency exchange.
Currency exchange, right? He comes down. I don't know, maybe a hat tip somewhere in there, but keep scrolling and let's see how this one starts off. Continuation from the first one. Yep, we've already gone through it. And so this one's a little bit shorter, but this is the essential elements. Okay. Can X out of that real quick and keep scrolling. We've already kind of gone through this. Okay. Insurgency. This is where we're going to talk about what I believe we're going through. Okay. Insurgency is primarily a political competition for legitimacy. Okay. So we're going to describe the current system we live in. Okay. We are living under illegitimate rulers. Okay. Homeland Security even put out an analysis of insurgency, and one of them was a revolutionary insurgency seeking to replace existing political with an entirely different system, often entailing transformation of the economic and social structures. There's commercialist insurgencies, but scroll down, there's all these different types of insurgencies. Okay, so funny enough, though, there is a political insurgency also, right? Insurgency defined as controlling the resources, but political insurgency is shadow government, deep state. What did JFK talk about? He talked about the secret societies, right? He talked about how secret societies were a threat to democracy, and how literally the CIA describes this as a shadow government. And I don't think it's too hard at this point to realize that maybe there's a shadow government that control the institutions, pushing big pharma, pushing fluoride, pushing chemtrails, right? Goes on and on and on against the will of the people. Okay. And so if you scroll down, this stuff's going to be cool. Keep going there and keep going. Just talks about the political. This is the CIA stuff, right? JFK talked a lot about it. Who are the deep state insurgents? Bankers, institutions, big pharma, politicians. We can keep going. We don't have to listen to the secret society speech, but it's there for people that want to listen to it. Shadow government Cryptocracy, secret government, invisible government is a family of theories based upon the nation that real and actual political power resides not only with publicly elected representatives, but with private individuals who are exercising power behind the scenes. The Federal Reserve is a private corporation. Okay. Private corporation. Okay. And so they print money, we pay. Q drop 1356 on 513. Something about those 315s, Joe. Keep going.
That's crazy.
We get shadow government. Okay. Fight insurgency. Okay. So the fight to insurgency is a counterinsurgency, Joe. Okay. Bit digital. Okay. 2920 actually is kind of a 1111 there. The full form of this bit binary digit, bit is the smallest unit of data in a computer storage and processing. It is either 0 or 1. Okay, this is just describing counterinsurgency, bit and digital. Okay, keep scrolling down here a little bit, just the numerology behind it. Counterinsurgency may be defined as a comprehensive civilian and military effort taken to simultaneously defeat and contain insurgency and address its what? Its root causes. Okay. Okay. Q drop on May 31st with a link to this guide. Guess what they label this guide, Joe? Guess what the abbreviation for it is? What is it?
Coin.
It's coin. Is it coin?
Definitely
So
coin.
and guess what date this came out?
315.
No, it actually came out.
Oh, sorry, 531.
No. Actually, keep going down a little bit. Keep going down.
Okay.
But this actually came out. So
the
counterinsurgency guide, Joe, comes out the same month and year of the Genesis block of Bitcoin. January 2009, they released this counterinsurgency guide.
Okay.
And who we got? Another May 31st, another 531, another 153. Insurgency may be defined as the organized use of subversion, right? So keep scrolling down. Describes comprehensive civilian and military effort. Now, Joe, if we're going to fight alongside the military, okay, in a non-kinetic way, what would that look like? Would that look like individuals taking their energy in a system that is probably protected maybe by the Space Force and other militaries across the world that protects the network of the actual Bitcoin protocol? Okay.
That's crazy. Do you know what my favorite drop is? Of course you don't, but I'm going to show you. So I wonder if this ties in, is why I'm pulling it up. So my favorite, what did I just do? Yeah. This has never been attempted. Use of general public to counter the narrative propaganda push controlled by media. Analysis start to now indicates situational awareness, right? Because it talks about that military civilian alliance.
So imagine this military civilian alliance. What do we see now? We see big companies coming on board to support the Bitcoin network. Trump met with the Bitcoin miners. You've got these people all across the globe fighting the system. And we're going to get into what hash power and stuff means in a minute. But absolutely, civilians can take their power back by just taking it and putting it into Bitcoin, right? You're actually weaponizing your energy. This is the first one. Go back to the second one.
Ah, shit.
Where'd
you click on? Do it this way.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. Okay. So if we understand counterinsurgency, Bitcoin is a digital, and who came up with actually in the special operations forces, right? There is a this is actually what was developed in it. Okay. So chapter 2, components of the coin strategy. If you scroll down, this was the guide that was put out. You notice the actual economic money port is orange, possibly Bitcoin. And then you scroll down. This is all open source, guys. You guys can all check this out. And the root is the key word here to all of this. Is very important to understand the problem which we face to diagnose the corrective cure. To really fix the underlying issues of the world's problems, we need to address the root causes and think bigger than just politics. The problem of fiat money can simply be summed up as follows. Banks control governments. Governments control people. And so, again, the uniparty, we can keep scrolling down. This is about talking about Trump talking about returning power back to the people.
Yeah, okay? We all know that clip.
Turns that. And there is no political solution to a financial revolution. All right. Clearly, the white hats of the world have known about this for a very long time, but humanity was stuck in a doom loop as the bankers would continue to rob, cheat, lie, and steal, destroy, even kill if they had to for their own game to continue. If there was to be a plan to solve the root issues of the world, fiat money, it would need to be a combined effort between civilians, population, and the military. For the love of all money is a root of all sorts of evil, Joe. You've got almost a kind of a biblical thing there to where it's
some people people have a really bad habit of saying money is the root of all evil, and that is not what the Bible says. You
correct.
have 100% here.
It's the love of money. It's the love of money. However, the love of money, if you're close to the money printer, right, and you can print it for free, technically that is the root of all sorts of evil that happens in our society. I mean, let's just be honest. Who's funding the Nazis in Ukraine? Okay, who's funding the all these different programs? So if we keep scrolling down, we get to what the fuck happened in 1971. 1971 is when Nixon took us off the gold standard. You get the consumer price indexes going absolutely through the roof. And this is where literally the entire world starts detaching is 1971. You look at all the health habits. You look at marriage rates. You look at the obesity rate. Everything breaks after 1971, Joe, because we go full fiat. Okay. We no longer are attached to a gold standard. Okay. And so that's when society completely breaks down. And abbreviated coin, right? Special Operations Forces, Counter Threat Finance, January 2009, Joe, the same month and year of the Bitcoin Genesis block. I don't know about you, but that's some weird coincidence there.
You know what it reminds me of? Because, sorry, my research obviously isn't the same as yours, but that's like Facebook starting the day after, what was it? The CIA's,
the LifeLog thing. Yeah.
Yes, LifeLog, and one shuts down and the other one instantly starts up. That's what this feels like.
Oh yeah, 100%. Okay, so keep going. Oh, funny enough, the Genesis block occurred at exactly January 3rd at 10:15. Now, do you see a 3:15 in there somewhere, Joe? That was the first Genesis block, which you can scroll down and look below. If you spin up a node, anybody can do. You can see it there. That's the timestamp. Saturday, January 3rd, 10:15:05, 2009. So it's a 315.
That's a lot of 315s, dude.
Yeah, bro.
It's crazy.
Keep going. Okay, General Flynn tweeted about Bitcoin in 2015. Did you know that? The 18th director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, who serves as the highest ranking military intelligence official, on February 1st, 2015, talked about Bitcoin. It may be a matter, keep going a little bit, of evolutionary destiny. Understand it because it will happen. Now, I assume you and your friends are fans of General Flynn.
Yes. Yeah. Which is getting harder and harder. And this may be the reason. Well, there is an obvious op out to destroy General Flynn, right? I mean, it doesn't get much bigger unless you're Trump.
Yeah. And you can spot the clowns that are pushing XRP and attacking General Flynn. You completely know they're a clown if they're doing those two things. And so scroll down. Flynn Bitcoin tweet is still up. Did you know Flynn ended up serving only for 22 days? Funny enough, Flynn was pardoned by Trump 1,111 days after 11/11/2017. Flynn also commands the 111th Military Intel Brigade. That's quite a few 11s, Kick. February 1st is also a notable date as a day that represents National Freedom Day, honoring the signing of President Abraham Lincoln's 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution by abolishing slavery, indentured servitude. Okay, fiat money. Print. Yeah. Indentured servitude. We're all slaves. We're all little slaves because of the money. Flynn was given us half. Now let's go to the Department of War Defense Manual because you don't have enough proof here, Joe.
I don't quite believe you yet. Keep going.
Okay, scroll down here and we get to section 11.22. Funny enough, the same day they assassinated Kennedy. 11.22, they talk about public finances and taxes. So if you scroll down and look at the guide there, public finances talk 11.22.
Wait. So 11.22. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up. All right. So 11.22. That's crazy. Go ahead.
Okay. Currency and exchange rates. Occupying power may introduce its own currency into occupied area or issue special currency for use in the occupied territory, should the introduction of issuance of such currency be necessary. There's a long history of issuing such war currency. The issuance of the occupational currency may be necessary to counteract the enemy state practice of engaging in economic sabotage. The occupying powers may regulate currency. So, for example, intentional debasement of currency by the establishment of fictitious valuation or exchanges rates are likely devices, as well as failure to take reasonable steps to prevent inflation, with the result of enrichment of the occupying power, would violate international law. So they're talking about inflation is illegal per international law in the Department of Defense War Manual. Okay. And here I go into hundreds of examples of where war currencies were actually used by the military during the Revolutionary War, during World War II. Militaries created their own currency to make sure that commerce was still possible. And so if we keep going down here, we talk about no leaks. We talk about the
For
root.
anybody, let me just put it out there quick, G-Money. For anybody that wants to read this on their own, I will post it. I think I already did, but I will make sure that if I didn't, that this will be posted in the Telegram.
Perfect. So keep going down. We get to Space Force. This is the fun part. Donald Trump creates Space Force. Okay. And we know the Space Force is like this, cool little new military branch of the United States. And guess what? We get this character named Jason Lowry, who comes out of nowhere, out of MIT, and starts talking about Bitcoin as a new weapons system. Okay. And if we keep going down here, the mutually assured preservation, a case for Bitcoin as the fourth leg of the U.S. strategic deterrence, talks about Bitcoin as a more powerful war deterrent protocol than mutually assured destruction, and one that is increasingly being adopted by society to restore its ability to achieve worldwide consensus on competing claims of the illegitimate state of liberty, prosperity. As Bitcoin adoption accelerates, the U.S. should seriously consider Bitcoin mining to become the candidate fourth leg to add to the existing strategic nuclear triad. Okay. What did Trump talk about Bitcoin as? As a digital stockpile as a weapon system. He wants every Bitcoin to be mined in the USA. Okay. This is getting, whoa, holy shit, G. You went from Pepe the Frog and like money to holy shit. This is like literally military weapons grade technology. Yes, literally. Okay. And I've been talking about.
He definitely did just say that.
He did just say that. Not only that, but RFK was going to put Jason Lowry in his cabinet had he become president. Okay. And so if we scroll down, I've been talking about digital 1776. Jason, funny enough, tweets himself, Bitcoin is digital 1776 in a Durham boat. We all know about the Durham boat. Okay.
Dude.
And so the Jason Lowry tweet, this is soft war. Everybody in the world needs to read this book. If you go to my website, 1776.love, I'll put it in the chat. You can go read it and download it for free. Go read this book. This talks about the long-winded continued domestication of the populace and how abstract power, this is getting into some difficult concepts, the current abstract power apparatus is basically, there's a whole TED Talk on it. If you guys read this and want to go watch it, go watch the TED Talk, go download the book. This is literally teaching people how to weaponize themselves against the deep state that's non-kinetic. You don't have to shed any blood. You can secure your energy behind a wall of energy, and this will explain more about what that means. So if we keep scrolling down, you've got the TED Talk. Okay, keep going. That's an hour-long thing. And so, let's read this. After sapiens suffer enough losses, they eventually become willing to do what surviving animals already do: project physical power to settle their disputes, establish control authority over their resources, and achieve consensus on the legitimate state of ownership and chain of custody of their property. People are eventually willing to spend the injury and risk the energy to secure the resources they value the way nature demands from every other animal in the wild. Okay, and so what this talks about is we, the American people, right, being enough precipices happen, right? How much more are you going to take from inflation, from shutting down your business, from the jabs, all this stuff? Actually, scroll back up a little bit. How much more are you going to take before you do something? And we're not talking about violence. We're talking about you securing your energy into something they cannot manipulate. And again, we're fighting the invisible, not the invisible, but the infinite player. The Federal Reserve has always been the infinite player because they can print money forever. Okay. Bitcoin put a time clock on their infinite power. Now their power is finite. Their time is finite. They become a finite player in this war games. They have to win at all costs by a certain time before Bitcoin takes over, or they lose forever. Okay. And that's why they have infinite energy. And so, Jason explains here, Americans are insurrectionists, people who are overtly defiant to abstract power, dismissive of rank, disloyal to their king, capable, highly motivated to kill thousands of redcoats. So we talk about the abstract power. The U.S. Constitution gives American citizens the right to free speech and the right to bear arms for this explicit purpose of empowering American citizens to delegitimize the abstract power of their government. It has become too abusive or systematically exploitive, just like the British monarchy did in the 1700s. Okay. So what we're talking about now is a revolution. You can play this clip. I don't think it's that long if you want. Let's see.
Sure.
This is from our show, Rug Pull Radio. We do every Thursday night. He said,
Let's see. It sounds a little quiet. Let me see if I can turn it up. That's all the way up.
It's all the way down, I think, now. Yeah, put it all the way up.
Oh, did I do it the wrong way?
I think so, yeah. There you go. Let's see. Tweet that Laurie, he sent it out actually today or yesterday. But, this is a pretty kind of, it's a pretty edgy sentence where he says, like, legitimately, Americans are insurrectionists. So I guess we sort of talk about this. We can pause this. Bear arms. Bit power, right? And so that's where we get into bit power. Scroll down a little bit more. Okay. So here's kind of the thesis, Joe, right? If this is a counterinsurgency operation, and we are the counterinsurgents, okay? The battle is over legitimacy, okay? Legitimacy of the government. Consent of the governed, right? Power of government comes from consent of the governed, okay? So when you voluntarily file your taxes, you are giving consent. You are paying the salaries of pedophiles, okay? Now, insurgency, counterinsurgency, battle over legitimacy. The dollar is not legitimate. It's private corporation money printed out of thin air, okay? We now can store our energy behind a wall of energy that the government can't confiscate, the government can't block, and the government can't control. So what you need to do, the key elements here are not only understanding Bitcoin, taking it into self-custody, the second part of that is you need to stop paying your federal income taxes, full stop. You need to stop filing your federal income taxes. You need to force them to the table to make them negotiate. You know what? The government can start a GoFundMe page for any project they fucking want. And if you want me to give you some of my Satoshis, you're going to have to prove to me why I should do that. No longer are they going to be able to just tax you on everything, right? Trump, no tax on tips. He's giving you a hint there. Trump's new crypto project called Be Defiant. Okay, Be Defiant is proudly, right, giving, proudly defying authority. Trump is talking about a digital financial revolution where he is saying, hey, guys, you've been exploited for this many years. Take your energy back into Bitcoin and stop paying the taxes to pedophiles. Okay, so this is how we win, because taxation is theft at any level. The IRS is a terrorist financial organization. Federal Reserve, terrorist financial organization. We, the people, take our power back by entrusting it into our own hands that cannot be fucked with. Okay, so they can't seize my Bitcoin. They can seize my house. They can seize my cars. They can imprison me, but they can't take my Bitcoin, Joe. So this forces the entire power shift of having them make them negotiate with you. And our red line for taxation is 0.0. If you want me to participate in something, maybe I'll provide, right, Satoshis for firemen, police in my community. Maybe I'll provide Satoshis if a war comes and we have to come together. But no longer, Joe, do we get to be exploited by the financial system or their current rules of law. Full stop.
Okay, so look, I saw a comment that actually brought up the instant thing. I think when you tell people don't pay your taxes, well, I've been in jail. I don't really like it.
Yeah.
And then he did say they can put you in jail, they can penalize you, but they can't take your Bitcoin. Well, I don't want to go to jail.
I don't want to go to jail either.
Right. So what do you say to people that are just have too much fear
that this
to go through with?
We don't need them. 100% of revolutions, peaceful ones, are successful when you only get 3.51% of the population voting up. So we don't need completely
true.
We don't need everybody. I'm looking for the strong men. I'm looking for the courageous individuals that want to join us. And look, you can join me without telling me you're joining me. I know that 80 million Americans are currently not filing their taxes, and more will do that once this stolen election kicks off in November. I don't believe Donald Trump is coming back. I believe he is exposing every orifice of corruption, and the overwhelmingly majority will show that the election was stolen again. And then what are you going to do, right, when the petrodollar loses the world reserve currency status and BRICS come in? What will you do when inflation kipes into superinflation? Are you going to continually pay taxes to pedophiles? Are you going to continually let them steal your energy? Do you think they have enough room to lock up every single American that doesn't want to pay their federal income tax? I think we need to start thinking bigger about this entire operation. This is literally we the people, right? Trump isn't coming back on a dragon to save us. We need a digital 1776 where we take our power back and make them negotiate with us on what they want to do moving forward.
Did somebody tell me you were friends with the Bundys?
I don't know the Bundys.
Okay. The Bundys are the ones that had the standoff.
The Vegas thing.
Yeah. So I'm mixing it up with somebody else.
This is the new American Revolution. This is the digital American Revolution, declaring your independence in cyberspace. A sovereign citizen that is backed by the entire power of the network. Now, if you go, one thing I want to show you, that's actually another proof real quick. Here, I'll put it in the chat. I want to show you the hash power graph. Okay. And so what this shows you, there's so much different stuff in here. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's see if I can find it. But people need to understand that the power of the Bitcoin network now is the strongest network in the world. Okay. It's 4x the size of the United States Navy. Okay. Distributed across the globe. Meaning, if anybody wanted to change the ledger or make changes to it, they would have to attack. They need a powerful force. And that's why AI is kind of coming on board. And that's why even all the power combined on the planet wouldn't put a dent in the Bitcoin network protocol. So look at this graph right here. This is the Bitcoin hash rate. This is the number of computers that are mining the algorithm. Okay. So what do we see? The basic network is basically flatlined until Trump takes office. Right? And then Trump takes office and the hash rate is the power. That's like the military of the network. Okay. Now we see the hash rate go completely bonkers after Space Force gets on board. And now it's unfuckwithable. You can't. So what that means is every individual that secures their power behind the Bitcoin network can actually utilize all the power of the network. Meaning if someone tries to attack the network, they're trying to attack all of us. They got to attack this entire thing, which is not possible at this point. We literally can't lose, Joe. Literally cannot lose.
I have two questions for you before we start to wrap this up. So, first of all, do you think it sounds to me like a lot of what you're saying actually ties to it? I stay away from this webpage, but do you think that we've been being told some stuff on this debt clock page? Because
I do. I think there are some weird hints in there. I do.
The devolution last week and
devolution talks about crypto, talks about other stuff.
Yeah,
and that debt clock, I do think there's some weird Easter eggs in there, kind of like that that other website that did the Barron book or whatever. So yeah, there's some weird stuff for sure. We can't say for sure, who's involved, but
yeah. My second thing would be, and this, I guess, would be kind of be my main question: is there a benefit to? Okay, look, I don't think that the quote unquote white hats would leave us all hang out to dry. And I do believe that patriots are in control to a point, right? We can debate that point, but it's kind of undebatable that they're in control to some level at this point, especially with what you just presented today. So is there, in your opinion, a benefit to getting into Bitcoin now, or allowing the process to play out as if you were a normie in this instance?
Okay, if you keep listening to Trump, he keeps talking about 1929. And the crash was so bad. Okay. We have over 8 trillion in deposits in bank accounts across the country. The FDIC has less than 0.5% of insurance against all of those deposits. Okay. So what I tell people is all you have in your 401ks, your IRAs, your bank accounts are IOUs. Okay. Because funny enough, on March 15th, 2020, they lowered the reserve requirement ratio on all banks to 0.0%, meaning they can lend out 100% of the money you have on deposit. So you have no verification that money is actually yours. If everybody was to go into the bank today to get your money, they wouldn't have enough deposits to cover everybody. Okay. So if you're comfortable losing whatever you have in the IOU system, hey, you're free to do that. But listen, Joe, our world has never had natural predators. Okay. Meaning we have living this life of idiocracy with guardrails always in place. And so I don't believe patriots are going to just come in and save everybody. I believe there is a natural selection process happening that has allowed these natural predators to continually exploit people, to steal their energy, to pull people out of the matrix. And if you have a resonation with any of this, come join the frogs. Come join us on Twitter. Come join us on Telegram. Be a part of this digital 1776. If you think I'm crazy and don't, hey, it's a free world. You can make whatever choice you want. But for those that want to store their energy and their power, you should probably do something that you can verify yourself. I can verify all the Bitcoin I have is my own, and I've got the private keys to it right in my head across multiple different locations. But if you trust that you're going to be taken care of, you trust the plan, you probably shouldn't go all in on that. I would probably have some insurance. You can buy 1 million Satoshis, 0.01 Bitcoin. Bitcoin is 8 decimal places. So you can buy 0.01 Bitcoin for about $650 right now. Okay. So go buy 1 million Satoshis, maybe have a little bit of insurance, maybe learn about self-custody, right? Maybe learn about having Bitcoin on a redundant network that nobody can confiscate or take from you. Okay. 1776.love. I have a 3-step program. Buy Bitcoin, buy the wallet, and I help people consult with people on how to take full self-custody of their Bitcoin.
Okay, so and that's something I don't think most people that aren't in the Bitcoin or I actually have 2 more questions for you, as long as you have the time.
Yeah.
As a silver guy, I know not to, go buy paper silver. I need to buy silver that I can put in my hand and put into my safe. Bitcoin seems to have a similar issue. Is it better to go use crypto.com for the newbie? Is that still better than not buying crypto, or should they have their own way to keep it safe in their own home?
Yeah. So if you go to my site, 1776.love, I've got the exchange, which we use River. I've got the wallets that are all open source wallets. Okay. And so, but we need to probably move away from crypto and talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is different than crypto.
Okay.
Because all the other cryptos out there are like, if your crypto as a CEO, it's a shitcoin. Like XRP,
that was going to be my question.
If your CEO is like Vitalik Buterin, it's a proof of stake network. And so understanding that book Software talks about proof of stake networks. Proof of stake networks are the network we live in. Okay. We live in a network of a small group of people being able to control the rules and laws for everybody else. Okay. 300 people control the lives of 300 million. In the Bitcoin proof of consensus protocol, okay, hash power is king. You need a consensus mechanism of like 80 to 90% of people agreeing on the new rules before those rules get implemented. Meaning, imagine if we had a Congress with like, instead of 300 people, maybe like 5,000 people. And those 5,000 people, 80 to 90% of them had to agree before a new law was made. Don't you think we'd have a lot more freedoms than we do now? Right? And so this fundamentally biblically changes a governance system from people, man gods, right? God kings, abstract power gods like presidents, to where we don't need presidents anymore. At the end of the day, right? Governments become service providers. If you want my Satoshis, prove to me that you're going to give me the cleanest water, the best food, and the best infrastructure on the planet that my family can grow up in, or else I'm moving somewhere else, right? Governments will have to compete for your Satoshis. Otherwise, they're going to go out of business. They're going to be your power company and your water company. That's what governments are going to get devolved into. Your Bitcoin node is literally direct legislation. You forget voting. You're a direct legislature when you're running a Bitcoin node because you're enforcing the rules of the laws in cyberspace for this protocol. Anybody can run a Bitcoin node. It's like just have a terabyte hard drive. It's open source. And so this gets into a much deeper fundamental question of what is the Great Awakening? Is a Great Awakening to turn everybody into MAGA Republicans? Is a Great Awakening more about money and how our entire system is slavery and how that we've been enslaved for an entire millennia? We're battling 1,000-year-old demons. Okay. And we've finally been given the perfect weapon to fight them with does not cause any bloodshed. I mean, if you think about all of this, it's always been about the money. We finally have a solution that is trustless, permissionless, and not controlled by any government. And when you look at it in that perspective, I'm looking for warriors. I'm looking for courageous people that understand that. And don't trust me, bro, right? Verify it yourself. Everything I'm saying is fully open sourced.
I would be doing a disservice to myself, honestly, if I didn't ask you this, because I do lean on people I trust on certain subjects that aren't in my wheelhouse. This being one of them. I'm so grateful that we had the show today. To be honest, I think it went 10 times better than I even thought it would. I'm so grateful for you, bro. So that being said, I have some cash, I have some silver, I have a little bit of Bitcoin, and I have a little bit of XRP. And I'll tell you why I have a little bit of XRP. Somebody I love, who I think is brilliant, who is a regular on this show, in Feisty Cat, believes that that's the one. And I can't debate anyone on any of it. So, again, this show is about, make disagreements great again. So I don't want to trash her opinion. I just want to know yours, because just if you could span a little bit. See, is what you were saying is you believe Bitcoin is the one and that's it, and
Correct.
the rest are all shitcoins?
Yeah, I mean, look, there may be a couple that survive for certain utility cases, but Bitcoin scales infinitely. Don't ask me. Talk about General Quast has said it multiple times, right? Bitcoin is infinitely scaling, and we can solve any other problem that other cryptos like try to solve now. And so look, XRP is just a worse system of the Federal Reserve than we have now. There's a CEO. Okay, their mining infrastructure is not open source, meaning, right, not anybody in the world could actually mine it. It's a permissioned system, meaning they have control over permissioned. They've partnered with the WEF. They partnered with the World Economic Forum. And whose SEC stopped Ripple in their tracks? It was Trump, right? Trump's SEC caused Ripple to not be able to get any further in the process. Now they finally won their cases, but we slowed them down far enough. All their coins got taken off exchanges because they knew that they were the CIA, Mossad clowns were pushing Ripple to everybody. And it's funny because every time I saw Ripple, they were a clown. So it's actually the litmus test. Bitcoin is the white hat dog whistle. XRP is the clown test. If you have a person that is pushing XRP and they're diehard, I would seriously consider what their true intentions are. Okay, because and some of their intentions are purely fiat. Like they want more fiat at the end of the day. Bitcoiners, we're not interested in fiat. We're not selling our Bitcoin. Trump said, that's why never sell your Bitcoin.
That's why I asked you, because through my own discernment up until Feisty, I would have felt just in my gut that everyone that approached me with XRP didn't have good intentions. However, I can tell you I 100% trust and love Feisty Cat. And
I don't know them personally.
And that's why I'm asking your opinion. And she's a good enough a friend that I'll probably in the back channels talk to her about this. I adore her. I think she's awesome. But that's why I'm asking. I think that it takes us all to figure it all out, especially when
but there's a fundamental difference. Okay, XRP is proof of stake, meaning the only people that get new coins from XRP are the stakeholders, the people that are in control of that organization. Okay, anybody in the world can mine Bitcoin, right? Nigeria, right? What happened? They were mining gold and they were giving it to the French for French francs. The French don't even use francs anymore. They were literally trading pieces of worthless paper for real gold. This is a proof of stake network. XRP is proof of stake. They're not tethered in any physical reality, okay? Which means you can't prove that they're decentralized, okay? They control the distribution of coins. They control the manufacturing of coins. They control all of it. It's a worse corporate structure than the Federal Reserve now. Architecturally, it's failed, right? Now, they may be able to do some quicker things with Swift or other things, but architecturally, it's failed as a system that's going to save us. And so, look, not to dog on your friend, but if she's all in on XRP, she's all in on the bankers and the corruptness that's going to continue. And so that's a completely flawed way against this. My solution is freedom for everybody, sovereignty for everybody, without anybody in control. If you want to still trust God Kings and you put all your trust into some Israeli organization, that's on you, right? And if you don't understand the architecture that make that system work, okay, then maybe you should take another look at it.
Well, I definitely don't. And so I'm going to take a deeper look because I think what you presented today is more than intriguing, bro. I think it was freaking amazing. I'm so grateful that you came on the show. I do want to do just a couple things quick as far as house cleaning, and then I want to hear how, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you and stuff. So
Sure.
real quick, let me just run through. We got a new monthly supporter, Old 54 Pickup. Thank you very, very much. Red Castles mean the absolute world to me, as this is a pretty new show. I got to say thank you to everybody. In 4 months, we're at 6.6 thousand followers on this platform. You guys mean the world to me. That means the world to me. So thank you very, very much for your support. I'm almost surprised at the reception this show's been getting. So yet again, thank you very much. Nevada Cowboy fan. I'm sorry. NV. Who's NV? I guess that would be a Nevada Cowboy. That's weird to like the Cowboys from Nevada, but I'm from Pennsylvania, so I don't like that at all. Go Birds. Awesome show, Rambo. Thank you very much for the $17 Rumble rant. I want to just show real quick. I will get to you guys over on pill.net here. I just wanted to get those before they disappeared.
Yeah.
Look, Mike Lindell is a freaking patriot through and through. Did you see him shave his mustache off and go to the DNC?
I didn't get to catch the whole thing, but I know he was doing that.
Dude, you gotta watch it. It is the funniest thing ever because you're like,
great.
who is that guy? And then he talks, and you're like, oh, that's Mike. Anyway, Mike jumped. He jumped right on the show day one and supported us. Right, he supports everybody. But
yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, his products are amazing. So if you want to support a patriot in Mike Lindell, which also is a way to support the show, please use promo code Rambo. And then I don't know how you feel about Patrick Gunnels, but Patrick Gunnels been hooking me up with a couple ways to help support the show. And right now, the main one that I'm actually loving, I have all of his products right here in front of me, except for the soap. I really want the soap, but epicminerals.net. So he's really pushing his rainfall product. He absolutely believes that he is saving humanity. That is the truth. I've talked to him many times about this, but you have your Z-Lite Extra, the rainfall lotion, which the girls keep stealing from me. That's why it's down here on my computer desk. And the creamy body butter they also are trying to get a hold of. But if you want to do your best to fight against the different toxins that they've been putting in our atmosphere and our food products, Patrick absolutely 100% believes in his products. I can tell you that. And I just started taking them. And so far, I will say nothing bad has happened. It's only been maybe three.
Nothing bad has happened. I love Patrick, by the way. Patrick Gunnels is great.
I'm always going to be honest. You know what I mean? I don't think I've taken anything long enough to have a real review yet, but I'm in the process of trying this. This is the first time. Look, all I ever did was toxify my body. I'm an ex-meth and heroin addict. Like, this is the first time I've ever taken something.
I did just get the lotion, I guess. I did just get it. I'm trying it now too, so I'm curious to see how it works. So far, it seems like it works pretty good.
Yeah, the lotion's great. I mean, the lotion feels great. That's easy to say. It's awesome. But anyway, please go to what is it? epicminerals.net, promo code Rambo, same as Mike Lindell. So all right. I can do the pill.net stuff after. I would love G Money if you could. I know you have a show over there on Badlands with your partner. I want to hear about your partner. Anything you want to promote, please by all means take this time to do so.
Cool. Yeah. So a lot of us hang out on Telegram at the Bullion Bitcoin BS channel, also at Rug Pull Radio on Telegram. And so we host a show Thursday nights. It's called Rug Pull Radio. We're on Badlands Media, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. You can find me on X at GMoneyPepe. And then, hey, look, head over to our website, 1776.love, because this is a loving, peaceful revolution. You can download the books for free, read them at leisure. It's all open source. We try to open source everything and then make your own conclusion, right? I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I am trying to lay down first principles approach to fundamentals in freedom and sovereignty. And also, fuck you, right? Fuck the powers that be that want to continually tax us to send our salaries, pay salaries of pedophiles. We no longer consent. Consent of the governed. Government's power comes from consent of the governed. I no longer consent. We are living through digital 1776. Q dropped many allusions to the Declaration of Independence in 1776 of when governments become corrupt. And so we have to opt out. the power to say no is very important. And so we need to start using that power of no, right? They just arrested the Telegram founder for literally just saying no. Right? It's kind of, he's also doesn't really own a lot of property, and apparently a lot of his assets is in Bitcoin. And so I think it's going to be funny to see if we get some of these digital revolutions, possibly from Durov or from Elon, to where they just, you know what, no longer are we going to support that. Hey, funny enough, if you look at my timeline, there is a Durov Pepe direct connection too, by the way, because all the Pepe the Frog stuff is on Telegram. And it's funny that Trump sent everybody to Telegram. Keep going a little bit. Keep going.
Somebody was asking what your X handle was, which
oh
is
yeah, G Money Pepe. So scroll down a little bit longer, a little bit farther. It's almost there. Keep going. That's Trump's new thing. Keep going.
Hey, thanks for sharing so many posts, bro. I appreciate it.
Man. I love that IRS one was freaking top kick.
Yeah.
Almost there. Keep going. Yeah, here we go. Look at that tweet. Look at that Perel Durov. Lesson learned. Hillary shouldn't have messed with Pepe. Never infuriate the green god, folks. Look at that November 9th date. 11/9 is a rare date, is also a mirror to 9/11. And so yeah, some interesting stuff with Pepe, bro. The frog is a lot more dangerous than you might realize. What Hillary Clinton said.
That's really cool. What time? When is your show on over on Baylor?
Thursday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, and that's UN Patriots in
Patriots
Control.
in Progress. Patriots in Progress. His handle is Pepe's in Progress on Twitter. He's a great dude, very based.
Yeah, he seems awesome. I've stopped in to say just to see you guys. I don't get time to watch everybody's shows, but if I'm ever in the car or I have a couple minutes at work, I'll stop in and check on so I can, take in other personalities and different perspectives. And he seems like just such a cool, calm dude.
Yeah. No, he's a good dude. He's a great dude. Yeah. Keeps me in check.
Right. All right. Well, this has been awesome, bro. I sincerely appreciate it. I will keep you on my short list of people to call back. If you're ever interested in coming back, we could definitely hook that up.
Yeah, man. For sure. Anytime, brother. Thanks for having me.
Really cool.
All right, man.
Absolutely.
Shade LA.
Much love. Well, that was awesome. Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I was already honest. That went better than I anticipated. I was really excited to meet somebody new in G Money. And who knew that his dig was that deep? And that, I mean, I'm blown away. I don't know about you guys. So, of course, I have my friends that I'm going to bounce ideas off of before I make any decisions financially when it comes to my kids. My kids are most important, but I certainly have a whole new topic and a whole bunch of new details to talk about with those people. So, with that being said, I hope everybody goes over and supports G Money and everything he's doing, because if there's one thing that you guys probably just realized, it is that his intentions are pure. That is for sure. I'm probably going to watch back this show because I wasn't able to follow it all the first time. So please share the show out. If you enjoyed it, please hit whatever positive affirmation button it is that's in front of you. If you're on Rumble, that would be a thumbs up. Same thing on YouTube over on pill.net. Take that red pill. If you are watching this show on X, thank you very much for watching it over there. Please share the show out, drop a comment. And I want to, first and foremost, before we bounce out of here, release the scratching for all you guys over there on pill.net and say thank you for the gold pills. Red Gun 51 with the shades. Thank you very, very much for supporting the show. And the scratching has been released for all you guys over there. So thank you guys all very much. Coming up this week, tomorrow, we will have the one and only Drunk Pinata and also Sean Anon. The last time that I hung out with these two boys, we stayed up for like 6 hours overnight talking about alcoholism and drug addiction. I don't believe that is going to be the topic tomorrow. We're going to be talking about some of the really questionable celebrity deaths. So start writing your lists because the list is long. From the Michael Jacksons to the Kobe Bryants to some of the politicians, the list just goes on. And tomorrow we're going to have a fun show doing that. And I think we're probably also going to have one of the more wrap-up debates on the assassination attempt, as that's still a point of discussion because so many people disagree. I know Sean and I don't agree, and we are very good at having those conversations without being mad at each other, right? Make disagreements great again. And then on Thursday, same as always, we will have Absolute 1776 and hopefully Stormy Patriot Joe. And then I will be going back to work all weekend. So thank you guys all for being here. I will catch you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, Rambo and Frens. And I will continue. Sorry, I'm looking for my outro. I will continue to do my best to bring the best guests and unity that we can to this movement. So thanks again, guys, and we will see you tomorrow.